Hey guys, what's up? We're back with some more reactions after dark, and we are of course going to be watching Wife Hires Hitman to Kill Husband slowly after daughter says he SA'd her as a baby, obviously by Rotten Mango. Now that is one heck of a title, so who knows what's going to be going on in this one, though. It is almost 2 hours. It's like an hour and 40, though. With this speed increase, it's like, I don't know, around an hour 10. So I'm assuming this video is going to be like 2 hours. So we're in for the long haul. I've kind of been avoiding doing these videos that are like too long for a while, just because of how much is going on. I'm just not in the mood to do like long videos like this, like I used to at the beginning. But this is kind of like in between, an hour and something. If we find anything that's like 2, 3 hours, we're probably gonna have to do that live, right? But I was thinking about doing this one live, but we're just gonna record it because I'm actually kind of. I think I wanted to do this, but like now I'm committing to recording this video just because of like almost out of spite at this point because I got a hate comment today, and I was like, oof. I'm gonna record the Rotten Mango because it was on a Rotten Mango video, I think, like one of the early Rotten Mango videos. I'm gonna tell you which one because we're gonna go over the comment. So don't skip this part. I'm pretty sure everyone's already skipped this, but I mean, you could skip it because if you don't want to read this or you think it's lame that I'm doing this, but I thought it would be not necessarily funny, but it's my channel, so we are going to read the hate comments live in the video, not like live, but we're gonna do it in the video in a second, and like go over it. I mean, they're not wrong, question mark, in a lot of ways, because I don't know if I feel the same way, but I can agree with what they're saying about a lot of stuff, maybe, but I'm farming them for content. Essentially, is what we're about to do. We're farming them for content. So I think from now on, if I get any more hate messages, we're just gonna farm these messages for content in these videos. So we can have like a little segment in front of all these or in front of these videos every time. If I end up getting hate comments, that is like pertains to the series, then we'll read them at the beginning. That's not an invitation for everyone to just start writing hate comments just to get, um, you know, put in the front of these videos. And I, because obviously I don't read any like all the nice comments because like obviously I'm getting like a lot of nice comments or just engagement really like a lot of it's engagement, but there has been like a lot of nice stuff, but I don't read any of the nice stuff out just because I don't want to um not embarrass anybody, but just uh bring attention to people who might not want attention brought to them. Like maybe they want to say down low, yeah, they're saying something nice to me in public technically, but maybe they don't want to be like, blasted in like a video or something. Even though it's like you're just saying, hey, look how nice this person is, but maybe they just want to stay down low. Like they just want to be nice, but then not have like the entire population of the world see that they're being nice. If you understand what I'm saying, right? I'm just like respecting their privacy by not saying, hey, this person's nice, right? But if they don't care, well then they can just say they don't care in this video, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'll have those interjected here and there too. But we are farming this person for content. Let me pull the video up. I'm gonna pause, but I already have it pulled up. All right, so here is the comment. I'm gonna read the entire thing out, so you don't have to sit there and read it. So don't spoil yourself. I have obviously crossed out their name because even if we are farming them for content, I'm not trying to have anyone hunt them down. Again, I'm not telling you what video they wrote this on, and I'm not telling you what their name is. I left their icon there just for context because I'm going to be remarking on it just a bit to be like, okay, I'm assuming this is a lady because of the icon. Plus, I mean, again, like 80% of the people who watch my run or watch my rad series are women, so it would make sense to assume that. And And yeah, that's just all it was. I'm just assuming that's their lady. And I don't know if we can consider their icon to be like a thirst trap. That's not me being mean or anything. I mean, they're being mean to me, but I'm not trying to be mean by saying that. I just don't know if it can be considered a thirst trap or not as their like thumbnail icon for their account or not. But so here we go. We're gonna read it. So I feel like as a reactor, you are terrible. Now this video, they're pausing it for a second, which is going to be relevant to what they're saying. Uh, the video was one of my earlier ones. Again, I'm not telling you what video it is. Don't go looking out for what video it was either. Um, one of the earlier videos that would make sense to assume that. I mean, I even now I don't think I am. I never thought I would be a good reactor because I'm not um reacting in the typical way that reactors do, which is like, oh my god, or like losing their mind, screaming, crying, shouting, right? You know, I'm just sitting here almost whispering into the mic, giving my opinions or observations on what's going on, like trying to excel. I do like have like a lot of pauses sometimes, not pauses, but like a lot of let them talk for a while. But that's actually this person's problem is that I don't let Stephanie speak enough. Like I pause too much, which this is not the first time I've gotten a hey, stop pausing complaint, which I've tried to do and then not do. Like because like if I want to say something, I'm just gonna pause and say I do try to let them like finish speaking, but for the most part, I'm just gonna pause whenever I want to, right? I'm not gonna change just because of like two hate comments now. For the first one wasn't really a hate comment. This one is a hate comment. But yeah, we'll get back to what they're saying. So you just keep talking and kept cutting before anything that is anything important and questioning anything. Yes, that is what I am doing. That's just how I'm going. Maybe you should hear here at least 30 seconds before you keep pausing, because before you try to and be smart, Stephanie has already answered the questions needed. So we can argue that they're right about that, but that's what I keep getting. Like I think this was said in the other one too that I had never mentioned before because I don't. It wasn't really a hate comment. It was a criticism comment, but it's criticism that didn't really take too much because again, I'm gonna pause whenever I want to. That's just my style of reacting to stuff. Uh, like every 30 seconds, I think is a hyperbole. Like sometimes, yes, it will be like every 30 seconds, but like it's not the entire video. And sometimes I'm sitting there for like 5 minutes not saying nothing. So 5, 10 minutes. So it's just all perspective of like when that's happening. But again, I don't disagree with that I am a terrible reactor and I pause too much. But again, that's just my style. If you don't like it, don't watch a video, right? And it says, don't blame her for your incapability for your views, which I don't know what she means by that. I obviously have never blamed Stephanie for my incapability for views. I don't know what she means by that. I've said that I'm not going to get any views if it's not a Stephanie video. Like, I'm saying the opposite. I say Stephanie gets me views, not the other way around. So I don't know what that is supposed to be about. And you've still been saying you watch tragedy after tragedy, so take a dang break instead of making it an issue and make it a problem to the YouTubers. Again, I don't think I was blaming YouTubers for what I was doing. And specifically, I know I mentioned like watching too many tragedies after tragedies, uh, because people in the comments kept saying I should take a break. So I was like, I'm gonna comment on the fact that people are saying take a break. So I was like, okay, yeah, it is kind of wearing thin. If nobody was saying anything to me about, hey man, take a break, I would have never even said anything about like, hey, it's like getting rough to keep watching tragedy after tragedy. I would have just like not even mentioned it. But I only mentioned it because people kept like being nice and saying, hey, maybe you should stop watching Rotten Mango this much, you know, etc., etc. Okay, at last I realize you don't even empathize or sympathize. Oh, wait, I realize like they have these misspelled, so I'm trying to like say them misspelled. I realize you didn't even empathize or sympathize with the people, and it's terrible. Also, this is an edited message, by the way. I want to point out that this is an edited message. There's still so many mistakes here. No wonder you have less than 50 views of you weren't reacting to Stephanie Sue. So, I mean, that part's correct. Like, again, like I do pause too much sometimes. Sometimes I'm actually like annoyed that I'm not pausing because I just don't have anything to say and I'm just letting the video rip. But that's actually a lot of reactors. You know, a lot of popular reactors just let the video rip and just go like, huh, yeah, haha, oh my god, crying, laughing, screaming, and then like the video, they're watching like 30-minute video, they're not pausing the video, and their video ends up being like 30 minutes, maybe like 31 minutes, because they haven't said anything really, they've just been like slightly talking over the video and just emoting over the video but not really saying anything, and then they get like a billion views. So I mean that's just not me. Like I made that clear from the very first video that that's not me. I don't have any emotions to uh, give for these videos. You know, screaming, crying. Well, maybe who knows about crying? Maybe something will actually break me. But no screaming, crying, laughing, yada yada yada, all that nonsense. Like that's not gonna happen. So yeah, I do see this as like, yeah, that is something I am doing, pausing too much, talking, trying to have something to talk about. But again, like if that's just what I'm going to do, if you don't like it, don't watch the video. Because this, I feel like this one kind of implies that they watched prior videos of me saying this and then uh, had a breaking point or something during this video, and that's why they left this hate comment. That's why they woke up and chose violence today. Uh, so I don't really have to comment on that. This one, I don't know what they're talking about because I feel like I was trying to be like a. Because can anyone like clarify that I'm not empathizing or sympathizing with the people? Like what's happening? Because I feel like this is like actually the worst part of this. All this other stuff, whatever you say, whatever you want about me, right? Uh, but this part is like, okay, I don't know about that. I feel like that is not, no, I am not doing, like I'm not empathizing or sympathizing. I am doing this. I'm pretty sure in those videos, those older videos, I was doing this. Like I was like, oh, like this is unfortunate that this happened to them, and you know, yada yada yada, whatnot, whatever I had been saying. So this, I think, is just I don't know what they're saying. Like that doesn't make any sense. This again, but back to the last sentence. But this is true, right? I've said it multiple times. Like nobody would be watch me if I wasn't watching Stephanie stuff. Like I agree with that, but the rest of this again, I don't know. I don't know why they woke up and chose violence against me, but thank you for the content, person. We do not know your name because it is blacked out. Thank you for the content. You are hater number one. I should have done this with that K-pop guy because there was a K-pop hater a long time ago that I mentioned but never like pulled up his messages or pull up their messages and use them for content. So again, I will start doing a farming hate segment in the future like this. Though again, I'm probably just gonna agree with everything because I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, I'm narcissistic and get it out right. I'm gonna agree with you. Yeah, I suck. I'm terrible. I pause all the time. I wouldn't be getting any views if I wasn't watching Stephanie videos. Yeah, sure. Am I gonna stop? No. So, congratulations, you accomplished nothing. Yeah, again, thank you for the hate, lady. We will now finally get on. I'm pretty sure everyone skipped this part, but I just thought we'll make this a segment. Like I said, from now on, if I get a hate comment, we'll have haterade segment. We should be, yep, we're good. We can finally start. Again, we're going to be here for a long time, so it doesn't really matter that I spent 15 minutes talking about that hate comment because we're going to be here for like 2 hours anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
If there ever is a book written about overdone tropes, this is...
Now, just to give that person what they were complaining about again, I'm pausing like 2 seconds into the video because I wanted to say more about the title. Like I'm taking guesses at what's going to happen here. And it's, you know, hires hitman for the husband. Daughter says that happened to her as a baby. So, and the thumbnail says, "Who's lying?" Right? Who is lying? Which implies that maybe the husband didn't do it, but it could be like three people actually. Not just like, is the husband lying, is the daughter lying? Maybe the mom's lying. And like, no, the daughter never said that. But the mom wanted to get rid of him for some other reason. That's also an option. But there's also, like, I'm not trying to be, like that person just said, I'm not sympathizing, empathizing. I'm not trying not to be sympathetic or empathetic, but what we're saying as a baby, does she have memories back then as a child? Because that's, again, like, this is a horrible thing to do that we're accusing. But, like, did she, like, because again, I've mentioned before, like, I don't remember anything past five or before five, I mean, or even maybe four. So, like, how young was she when this happens? Again, like, it's probably not even her. Maybe it's like, is the mom lying? Not, like, we're just gonna ignore, like, we're gonna ignore whether or not this happened to the daughter. We're gonna say maybe it didn't happen, right? We're gonna hope it didn't happen because, again, it's a terrible thing. It didn't happen. So it's like, is the mom lying and saying that the daughter said this to her? Because that would be best case scenario, right? In this kind of thing, this kind of situation is that the mom is lying about the daughter telling her that. So that, like, nobody committed a crime outside of the mom hiring the hitman, right? And also the way it's worded, is the husband alive? Because I was assuming the husband's alive, but it says to kill the husband slowly. Is that just what the plan was, or did the plan actually succeed and he did die slowly? Or did he was being tortured but then got away? And then now we're having this trial of, you know, what's going on. No, again, these are just like thoughts and assumptions on what's might happen or what's going on in this story. Again, like that person in the haterade segment, saying they don't like that I'm just trying to sound smart. I'm not trying to sound anything. I'm stupid. I'm just trying to get my thoughts out there of what might be happening, or what's going to happen in this video.
If there ever is a book written about overdone tropes, this is going to be on the first page. Housewife in a small southern town. PTA mom to 2 kids. She is going to meet up with a hitman, a contract killer. In between picking up new socks for her kids' track meet to like cutting the crust off of the Uncrustable sandwich, which is like a logic-defying choice, she is going to make time to sit down with a hitman. If this were set in Nantucket, Nicole Kidman is going to be playing a lead role. But this is not Nantucket, and this is not Nicole Kidman, and this is not a freaking act. April 11th, 2025. Angelia Solomon, aka Angie, she's pulling up to this parking lot. It's called the Cool Springs Mall. It's one of those giant beige-colored buildings. You're smacking a Cheesecake Factory on there, a California Pizza Kitchen. It's basically the American suburban dream in one giant personality-less shopping plaza. But that is completely besides the point, because Angie is pulling up in her car, and the instructions are crystal clear. Park a few cars away. Easy, done, got it. Then you walk over to the car with the hitman, the hit car, whatever you want to call it. I mean, this is too easy, right? Open the passenger door. Get in the front. This is the front. Get in the front passenger door. Do not look behind you. Do not look around. Do not glance towards the back seat. Keep your head facing forward. Act normal and just talk. The hitman is in the back seat, and this is how you're going to communicate. Without seeing his face, without shaking his hand on the count of like 1, 2, 3, deal, you're just going to stare straight ahead into the Macy's entrance while you tell the hitman exactly why you need your ex-husband dead. Both Angie Solomon and this man, they have a reason to be hiding in this Macy's parking lot.
Okay, now I'm wondering if this guy is just like an undercover cop, right? Because that would be like a twist. If he's just like a cop trying to catch her, trying to kill her husband, right? Because I feel like cops do that a lot, right? They try to disguise themselves as, drug dealers, hitmen, not predators, but the opposite, like prey for a predator, right? They try to get like maybe like a young looking girl or guy, but they're probably like in their 20s, but they look young enough, and they like try to get a predator to come out and see them, and then they snatch them, right? So who knows if that's what's happening here, or if it acts as a hitman.
For the very first time without even making eye contact, and Angie asks him, have you done this before? I'm not talking about what I've done before. And she's just nervous giggling. She's like cackling. She sounds like a housewife, and he sounds like a hitman.
You heard it?
Yeah, I'm just intrigued. And she's just like, okay, it's nervous laughter.
Oh, you're just with me, right? I mean, that's a stupid question. I mean, there's trust going both ways here. That's why we're sitting in the middle of the parking lot, okay?
Okay, so
Okay, who is recording this, her or him? Because if it's him, that makes my idea that this is a police pretending to be a hitman more viable.
She's like, straight to business, I see. They're both here to take someone down. They're not here to make small talk. Angie gives the backseat guy, backseat boy, backseat killer, whatever you want to call him, the whole rundown. The Spark Notes version is, he belongs in prison or he belongs underground. That's a direct quote. The slightly longer version is this. Angie has 2 kids with her ex-husband, Grant Solomon and Gracie Solomon. Angie states that she has known that her ex-husband, has been abusing their daughter since she was 5 years old.
Okay, that's a different story. Right? It's not just daughter says he did this to her as a baby. It's he's been continuously doing this since she's a child. It hasn't stopped.
She claims that Gracie allegedly told her one day that her father puts things up inside of her during bath time, and once it was a soap bar and it was absolutely painful. Angie's horrified. She states that when she confronts her husband about it, Aaron, he admits to it, but he also allegedly tells her, if you tell anyone, I'm just going to take the kids away from you. What are you going to do?
How is he going to do that, though? Also getting pausing every 30 seconds. Whatever, sue me. Lost my train of thought there. Okay, now I remember what I was going to say about that. It's the whole viewer discretion is advised, obviously. I'm going to have to put that on the thumbnail. I already made the thumbnail, but I'm going to have to add it to the thumbnail. Because I didn't know how bad this was going to be, but her just letting it rip and giving such a specific detail like that, already Jesus Christ. Right? So, again, viewer discretion is advised. Probably shouldn't watch this one if it's too bad. But yeah, again, viewer discretion is advised. I forgot to say that at the beginning because I didn't know how bad it was going to get, but that's pretty bad.
The kids away from you. What are you going to do about it? What are you supposed to do for a threat like that? Aaron Solomon, the ex-husband, is a well-known, well-respected local news anchor. He's on the local TV news channel, and she's Angie. If people don't believe her, then her kids are going to be taken from her. And Gracie will be under Aaron's full control. So Angie, she just has to find a different way. She sends an email to her psychiatrist, Dr. Reed, and she's talking about her daughter. My daughter would beg to not be bathed, and I didn't see the signs. Did I miss all the signs? She claims ever since then, she has been trying to get the kids away from Aaron from, at least 2013, right? She was trying to slowly escape. She was taking detailed notes of abuse on her phone. Then one day, she's rushing out the door to pick up the kids from school. She's in the car, she's passing by the gas station, and she realizes, I left my phone at home. So then she books it, U-turns it back all the way back home, and she's freaking out. She runs inside, and Aaron has the phone just suspended over the toilet, and allegedly he tells her, I told you what would happen if you ever talk to anyone about what's going on in this house. He saw her little notes app with all the logs of the detailed abuse.
Since 2013?
And yes. Well, it was prior to 2013. This happens in 2013.
Whoa. Okay.
And he drops her phone into the toilet, straight into the toilet, just destroying all the evidence. This is what Angie...
Okay, though, is it actually destroyed? Because I don't know how whatever she just said works. Is that not in the cloud somewhere? Or, if she gets a new phone and puts her account on it, would it not just be re-added again in the cloud? Or is it literally just a notepad that is strictly locked to the phone, isn't in the cloud anywhere?
Angie says. And he tells her, you know what that means now, right? You're never going to see the kids again. 3 weeks later, in the middle of the night, kids are gone. Aaron is gone. And now Angie is many years later. This is in 2025. She is sitting in the car with a hitman. She sounds like she's half laughing. She sounds like she's half crying. And she asks, you're trustworthy, right? Is that a stupid question? Mind you, this is still a Macy's parking lot. Mr. Backseat Assassin responds, there's trust going both ways here. That's why we're sitting in the middle of a parking lot, okay?
Yeah, I just don't know even. I don't know anything, and I don't want to know. The only contact we have is through Steve here. That's all I want. That's perfect. You're not reporting me or anything, so you can bust me.
Angie giggles kind of nervously. I would be worried about you doing that before me, because it could be it for me. Angie says, I'm just a very naive person, but I'm just catching a big leap right here. Yeah, it's a big leap, but like I said, you're not gonna see me ever again. Which seems to be exactly what Angie needs to hear, because she starts telling him her ex-husband's work schedule, his workout routine schedule, his gym schedule, where he works, his address, how his back gate has a gaping hole in the back that he can probably crawl through. And Angie wonders, so this can't be traced back to me, right? That's why we're going through this now. After you get out of here, you're never gonna see me again. Angie asks the backseat guy, are you mean?
Am I mean? I can be mean. You want me to be mean?
She nods. Okay, I can be mean. He thinks he's about 5'8", with shoes on, and he thinks he's God. Okay, so slow is better than quick? Yes. He's a psychopath. And a psychiatrist watching in court and, the way, his mannerisms and everything, he's a psychopath. We all know what they are. My daughter says he's in between Jeffrey Dahmer and, I forget the other one. She forgets the name of the other serial killer that is being referenced, but it's not important right now. The important part is this going to happen or not? Is her ex-husband going to be dead or not? The backseat man asks Angie, well, they're going to talk to you. You're his ex-wife, and you better not say nothing, you hear me? Angie assures him she's ready to move on with her life. This is about making sure that her daughter is safe. However, she has no money. What?
What?
What? Yeah, everyone's gonna say what to that. What do you mean what? Why did I say what? What do you mean? What do you mean you don't have any money? What? Like wasting this guy's time. I mean, she's committing a crime, but what did she think was going to happen from her saying that? Question mark. Also, I'm pretty sure they're still married, right? He just took the kids and ran away, which I feel like is against the law to do that. And the police could have just hunted him down and took the kids back. Question mark. Though we're just gonna skip over that little plot hole for a second. Like, if they're still married, can't she just take his money? Like, access his money unless he somehow has it, like, in a way that she can't get to it? Because she could just use his own money to get him or pay the hitman, right? Assuming she doesn't have a job and that's why she doesn't have money, then I just assumed she could have just taken his money, but I'm guessing she doesn't have access to that.
How long was this interaction in the car?
30 minutes?
30 minutes?
Yeah.
It's kind of long.
Well, I was wondering because I don't have anything to pay right now, but I would later. What do you mean you would later? You got life insurance on him or anything? Andy explains, no, it's not life insurance per se, but he has a trust that would go to his daughter, their daughter, when he dies, and that's probably like a few $1,000,000. But as of right now, Angie doesn't have anything to give Mr. Backseat Man. And he says, well, give me your car registration as collateral. So she's reassuring him that when she gets the trust, she's going to pay him back double than what he's asking. So instead of $5,000, she's going to pay him $10,000. She hands over her car registration.
Okay, before she continues, because I'm assuming this is like a bust. I'm like waiting to see like when that's gonna happen, and does it have to be once a transaction is made, right? They can't bust you until you like hand over some sort of payment, because then like now you have paid for crime to happen, and now they can come and bust you.
And I guess that's enough for the hitman. He finally asks her, you understand though that I'm not going to see you again. We will be going through a third party, and you know that. You understand that when you get out of bed this next time in the morning, your husband is going to be dead and he ain't coming back. You understand that, right? He will be dead and disappear. Angie starts crying before she agrees. However, a few things from this conversation are just flat out false lies, such as by morning time tomorrow, Aaron Solomon would not be dead. And the two of them, Mr. Backseat Man and Angie, they will see each other again. And this time, they do get to look at each other. Not that it makes it any less awkward. In fact, Mr. Backseat Man suddenly does not appreciate eye contact. He does not want to look Angie in the eye, even though they're sitting so close, facing each other directly. Or maybe the awkwardness is coming from the fact that they're sitting in a room full of people staring at each other while the entire conversation that they had in the car about killing Aaron Solomon has been recorded and has been playing on the speakers in a courtroom where Aaron Solomon is sitting in the back.
So this guy's a cop, or is he an actual hitman that also got caught?
The prosecutor asks him, and what was your role? I was informed that my role would be to go undercover and portray myself as a hitman for hire.
Yeah, again, like you could just see that from the very beginning, like I did. Like everybody, I'm pretty sure everyone like understood that this guy was not a real hitman and he was a cop. Because then cops do this all the time: pretend to be hitman, pretend to be drug dealers, pretend to be prey. I don't know how else to, like describe that. Like pretend to be children. I guess there's like a way you should say it. Like pretend to be children to like bust people. So again, saw that coming from like a mile away, especially with the weird how like it was going between them. But yeah, I think again, like they needed to wait for some sort of transaction to actually happen. Because I feel like a hitman wouldn't be like, yeah, just give me your car papers as collateral. Like what? I don't think a hitman would do that, right?
Mr. Backseat Man is not a hitman. He is an undercover agent, and Angie Solomon has now been arrested for a murder for hire charge. The Solomon family consists of 4 people: Aaron Solomon, the dad; Angie Solomon, the mom; Grant Solomon, the son; and Gracie Solomon, the daughter. By 2025, Aaron Solomon will be accused of being part of a large-scale, high-powered trafficking ring involving the governor of Tennessee and a megachurch pastor, including being accused of trafficking his own daughter into this trafficking ring. Angie Solomon, the mom, will be arrested for trying to kill her ex-husband. Grant Solomon, the son, will be dead.
What?
And Gracie Solomon, the daughter, will post a video expose on YouTube exposing her entire family and accusing her dad of killing her older brother, Grant.
What do you mean? I was not expecting that. Like, huh? Okay, so the dad is like actually bad? Question mark. Because, like, what do you mean the brother's dead? And the sister is saying the dad did it. Like that was like an M. Night Shyamalan twist there. I was not expecting like some sort of trafficking ring, brothers gone. What?
This is the case of the Solomons, where it's pretty clear that at least one of the Solomons is lying. We just don't know which one.
What is it? What do you mean you don't know which one? So brother's gone, so it's not him. So it's a mom. It's like that game where uh, like a puzzle where you have two lies and a truth or something like that, where only one of them is telling the truth. Though I guess we're supposed to be like all two truths and a lie, but I feel like there's a way where that doesn't make sense because it has to be him. Because if the mom is lying, well, then that means the daughter is lying if she's trying to co co-opt that. Well, at least about him doing that, because that's two of them are lying at that point. So then it's like, okay, who? It's not just one person lying. Oh yeah, forget. Oh, got ads. Forget about that. I was supposed to mute that sound anyways. Hold on. Also, she said, pretty sure at least one of them is lying. So actually, it could be multiple. So what I was just saying doesn't matter. But let's go ahead and mute this, because then we get the, the intro that's copyrighted. But yeah, seems like it's gonna be a crazier story than I thought. We're already like half an hour in, and we've only gotten like 10 minutes through this video so far.
I'd like to thank today's sponsors who have made it possible for Rotten Mango to support the Georgia Mountain Food Bank. Now more than ever, with SNAP benefits having been paused and the holidays coming up.
Of course, like that's kind of like my fault, is why we're already like half an hour in, because I spent like 15 minutes just talking about the haterade segment.
Advocates. As always, full show notes are available at RottenMangoPodcast.com. A few disclaimers: there are allegations of DV, childhood essay, incestuous abuse, so please protect yourself if this is something that will be triggering. Today's case is also complicated. It's a situation where everyone, even strangers on the internet, including ourselves, everyone's picking a side, and they're sticking to that side. As always, we try our best as a team to not pick a side, no matter how tempting it is. But today,
well, I don't have a side. I'm assuming she's gonna choose just off of Stephanie's personality. It's gonna be like the mom and the daughter, obviously, right?
this case in particular is very messy. There are a lot of accusations. They have not been legally proven in court, but just because it hasn't been legally proven doesn't mean it can't be true. But for the purpose of not needlessly receiving a cease and desist, which tends to make me more passionate regardless, but still, we are going to do our absolute best to just compile and aggregate the allegations made online, netizen opinions, and even conspiracy theories so that you can come to your own personal opinion on this case. Any alternate theories, opinions, and accusations are those of netizens I found online or from the people directly involved. Everything is publicly available. They are not representative of our own opinions regarding this case. A small disclaimer here, any annotations made in any sort of document was done by the original uploader of the document. So more often than not, Angie or someone from Angie's side has been posting screenshots of medical reports or screenshots of court documents, and there's a lot of annotations and highlights and question marks next to things. That was not done by the RM team. That was just done by the original poster. Moreover, we cannot even tell you if that these are accurate screenshots of court documents. Tennessee is very tricky in the sense that we have had to jump through a lot of loopholes. Tennessee is a state. If you live in Tennessee, we need help in Tennessee, okay? Tennessee is the one state where every time we put in a FOIA request, it's going to be weeks of just no. And I feel like I'm harassing court clerks in Tennessee at this point. So if you guys have any sort of advice from Tennessee residents, please let me know in the comments. It's been intense. So there's no way that we can even cross-reference or really check for these documents for their accuracy. And even then, I think it would be useless in this situation, as there has not really been an open criminal investigation until this year, and that is for the murder for hire plot. All of the other things, they happened in family court, which a lot of those times, those are not public information. And since we're covering all of our bases, I have no idea and I have no way of confirming all of that, just so you know. And sometimes they can be taken out of context. And another thing with this case is every single point has been disputed by both sides. If you were to put the two main parties involved, Angie Solomon and Aaron Solomon, into a room and told them to agree on the color of the sky, you would have to bring in a pee bucket and sleeping bags because neither of them would be leaving that room. Like, they just cannot agree on a simple 2 + 2 = 4. Just to give you an idea, Angie has claimed that Aaron has filed multiple bankruptcies on an Instagram account that Aaron accuses Angie of running, which she denies. Even that is contentious. Then Aaron denies filing multiple bankruptcies. Then he goes back and says, I only filed for one. But that was also with Angie, and I had to file it because we were married and she was spending all the money. So it's like every little thing, they have to be like, no, that's not true. No, that's not true. So it's a lot of back and forth, and like a lot of very nasty divorces, custody battles. It's going to get very, very contentious and heated. So with that being said, let's get into it. May 12th.
What Gracie's story, a cry for help. Okay, this must be the daughter's plea. This is a long time ago. How do we just have a trial now? If she had potentially posted this video like multiple years ago, what the heck? Because this is a brand new video, by the way. This is literally uploaded yesterday.
2021, a video goes live on YouTube, and you just see a 14-year-old girl holding a stack of papers, and she's kind of on one of those swivel armchairs, and there's a lot of background music that is very loud. And she starts by saying, my name is Gracie Solomon, I'm 14 years old, and I'm here to tell my story.
I just want to say before we get into any of this that it's coming straight from me. It's all me, and no one else. So watch it.
A lot of people point out that throughout the video, she'll periodically look off the camera. So, you know, it seems maybe someone is there
Yeah, it looks like she's looking at somebody, not the camera. Like, what are you looking at? You're looking at a person.
as emotional support, or if you want to be very skeptical, maybe someone is telling her exactly what to do. Which she states in the video, no one is telling me what to do. My father is a monster. It makes me want to vomit. I found my voice to be able to tell you that my father has R-worded me, hurt me, and I'm not going to be a victim of this monster.
He's a rapist, he's a molester, he's a liar, and he's a killer. I hate my dad. I'm absolutely terrified of him for everything he's done to me, my brother, and my mom. I don't want to call him my dad anymore.
He's never listened to me. He has hurt me sexually, physically, mentally. He has caused so much pain for my family. He has tried to manipulate me and has manipulated others and has hurt me ever since I was born. My dad has done awful things to me. First, he never let my mom bathe me. It was always him. So by not letting my mom come in at all, it meant that he could do anything to me. I would always tell my mom that I felt like I was more of a wife to him instead of a daughter. He would always bring his phone into the bathroom with him. At the time, I didn't know it, but I strongly believed that he was taking pictures and videos. I learned how to hide my body from him by flipping my hair over because he wouldn't leave me alone while I was showering or getting out. He is a sick person. He even tries to convince me that I'm being brainwashed by my mom and everything I remember never happened. He tries to scare me into thinking my mom's house is unsafe. He knows how scared I am of robberies and kidnapping or getting taken from my mom. In fact, he took me away from my mom for years when I was just ending my kindergarten year. Later on, he told me that I was never going to go back to my mom and that she was actually dead. I don't remember when I found out that my mom was alive. But I know Grant, my brother, and I both believe she was dead for years because of my dad. She states that even when they were a family unit, it wasn't great. Gracie says that the dad was always constantly trying to kill Mom Angie. This video itself is uploaded on YouTube, and it doesn't particularly go viral on a national level, but it has 181,000 views, and everyone in Franklin, Tennessee has probably seen this video. Aaron Solomon, Gracie's dad, is somewhat of a local celebrity. He used to be a news anchor for the local channel, Channel 4. Everyone knows him. Everyone seems to know the Solomons. In the video, Gracie talks about how she had to go out of town for a baseball game for her older brother, Grant, and she went with her dad. He ends up booking a hotel room for her and him with just one bed.
We stopped at a hotel room in Nashville. My dad only got one bed when I asked for two. It made me really nervous before we even got in the hotel room. When we went to bed, I remember him slowly getting closer to me until I was on the edge of the bed. I kept waking up by feeling his feet rub against mine.
I was like gonna pause because I wanted to hear her speak in like normal speed, because the way she's talking sounds weird. Not like the tone or the pitch, because the pitch sounds weird, but I think that's just like the room they're in and the mic they're using. But it's just the way she's speaking is weird. I wouldn't say like it's uncanny, or it's just kind of unnatural.
I kept waking up, and then I finally realized that something hard was on my lower back, close to my butt. I felt really scared, and I knew it was wrong. At court, Dad's attorney got inches away from my face and tried to manipulate me into thinking that what my dad did didn't really happen by saying, "Do you really think your dad would do something like that? Do you actually remember that happening?" He was so close to me that I could smell his cigarette breath on him, and his tongue really scared me. Gracie alleges in this YouTube video that it's not just her being victimized, it's everyone. So this is just like a 14-minute video of an expose of like, let me tell you everything that's happened between my family and everything that my dad has been doing ever since I was young. So it's not necessarily in a chronological fashion, but it's just like a very explosive, point by point, all of the big things of why she's scared of her father. She says it's not just me. She states that her dad would come to these high school games, sports games, because he used to be a sports newscaster. He's very much into sports, and he would film up the teenage girls' homecoming court dresses. That's what she alleges. She says, "It makes me sick seeing him or talking about him. I haven't been able to go to school because of how scared of him I am." Ultimately, Gracie states at the end of her video, the only thing that she wishes, really, is for, quote, "I want my dad gone."
Is there like context on this? Did she just post this and then, because that's crazy allegation. Is there a police investigation? Or...
So she posts this video, and this video in particular does not blow up. But previously, for years before this video goes up on YouTube, there were multiple, I guess, depending on what state you live in, DFACS, Department of Child Services, DCS, or CPS, Child Protection Services, they have had multiple open investigations against Aaron Solomon, and all of them have come up with nothing. Whether that means...
That's like, what is going on there? Like, this is just like another one of those, I forgot all their names. It's been a while, right? I mean, it was this year, but the biggest case I feel like Stephanie's done outside of like the Diddy stuff, which I'm not gonna watch, but the one where it's like this whole conspiracy in the town with like the police officer who died in front of the other police officer's place, and like everybody's in on it, and like they were trying to blame it on the wife or the girlfriend, but the girlfriend was able to not go to jail. Because it kind of feels like everyone in town is covering up for who actually did it. Question mark, that case. Like, I forget what, like, their names are. So, people who have watched the Rad videos or watched Rotten know who I'm talking about. Like, that case. So is it like, does he somehow have swing like that, or what? I mean, it doesn't seem possible, right? He's just, a newscaster. Like, how could he have like so much swing like those cops in that one case? But how could CPS just fail multiple times of protecting, they're not really protecting the kids, but like figuring out what's going on? Like multiple instances of not finding evidence? Question mark. Obviously you would be like, okay, well maybe there isn't any evidence and this is all lies, but you have to just automatically assume that can't be the case. He has to be doing this stuff, right? Of course, that's seeing him guilty until proven innocent, right? Which it's not supposed to be that way. But that's kind of just like how people think, and you just have to deal with that. So, again, how are they not finding anything if this guy is so guilty? And I'm not saying he isn't guilty. I'm saying he is guilty. So how's no one finding anything?
And all of them have come up with nothing. Whether that means that he is innocent of these allegations or whether he's just really good at not getting caught, I think that is up for debate.
So she posts this, and that's it. No police involvement. Nothing going on.
She posts this, and then Angie starts reaching out to a lot of true crime creators. At this point, a lot of people were familiar with the Solomons because something had happened the year prior, but it just seems like this was a big open door. This is when national attention starts getting involved. They're going on
Something happened a year prior. I'm assuming that means that was like the death of the brother? Question mark.
News Nation. They have a whole website. They have GoFundMes that have raised close to $200,000. They have a lot of eyeballs on them. This video itself, for some reason, does not get a lot of attention, but all of these allegations are starting to spread.
By the way, a bunch of those things in there were about, I think, Grant. Like the investigation into Grant's raising money for what happened. I don't know, like if in that situation, was he missing or is he just already dead? And they're like, oh, can you get us some money for funeral stuff or what? Yeah, a lot of that stuff was for the brother, I think.
Zoot becomes a big conversation online.
Where are the cops? Where are the officials?
They're not doing anything.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's so
They're
weird.
not doing anything. Before you even sit down for the first couples therapy session, the therapist is already figuring out, just gathering intel on the relationship dynamic, and it starts in the waiting room. Sometimes some therapists will even say that they'll check the cameras in the waiting room.
Why is this feeling so weird? Because it was like a weird cut and then we got like music playing in the background. That's so weird.
Just to get a little vibe, especially if it's their first time seeing the couple. How much space is in between the couple? Obviously, the surface level observation would be the further apart a couple, the more they hate each other.
Sure.
But it's actually more than that. Therapists have noted it's about attachment style. If the couple is physically further apart, it could mean that one of them has avoidant attachment styles. They would rather run away from the problem than face it. Or they're in a stage of extreme emotional withdrawal, which is also very difficult. Clearly, couples who are in their own worlds, on their own phones separately, not great. But also, here's an interesting thing. If you see a couple and they're both zoning out or staring off into space, but they're staring off in different directions, could also mean that they're not in sync. One's looking left, one's looking right. Or even timing. Do the couples come in together in one car? Or maybe they can't because of work or other obligations. Do they come in separately? That's fine. But if the couple regularly, one person arrives early or on time and the other person is consistently late, big red flag. Maybe it's work, but is it really? Or it could indicate that they don't want to be here. They feel tension and resentment, that they even have to show up to couples therapy. In relationships in distress, couples move independently. They say it's like a coordinated dance, every couple. The way you open a door, you go into the therapy office. Therapist is sitting down and you look at the selection of seating available. And usually the couples who will end up working out, they do a polite little song and dance. Even if they hate each other in the moment. Would you like the chair? Or do you want to, oh, I think maybe we should do the couch. It's like a very awkward, okay, well, whatever you like. Yeah, it's fine.
These are according to a therapist?
Yes. But couples who do not care for each other, they just plop down wherever they want. They don't ask. There's no courtesy. There's no like, what do you want to do? Maybe we should both decide together. Maybe we should both sit together. Not that they have many choices. Couple therapists have stated that they will intentionally seat couples at a 90-degree angle. Can you guess why? Sometimes it's side by side on a couch. Sometimes it's one on the couch and one on a sofa facing the other way.
Why? They want them to...
It's the best for eye contact. You can choose the level of eye contact. You can look at your partner to connect, or you can look away when you feel you need emotional space without it being so obvious, without it feeling confrontational, like I can't even look at you right now. It feels more natural. And a lot of these sessions are filled with confrontation. One therapist says, I saw a couple that was doing retaliatory cheating. They were just cheating on each other and then telling each other about it. And then the other person would get mad and then cheat on them and then tell each other about it. When they got through their anger, they decided to call it a truce.
Okay. Weird. How are you gonna live through that after doing that? Just knowing that both of y'all just messed around for X amount of time.
Waved the white flag and made peace. With their level of emotional maturity, I doubt it lasted long, but they stopped seeing me, so I don't know if I helped them or prolonged their suffering. I don't know. Another couples therapist said, I saw a couple in the office because the husband greeted the dog before her when he came home from work, and that's why they started couples therapy. But it's actually
Excuse me, what?
a couple in the office because the husband greeted the dog before her when he
Because the husband greeted the dog before her.
came home from work, and that's why they started couples therapy. But it's actually a very symbolic problem of something greater, a bigger underlying issue. Every day he'd come home from work and he would pet the dog first before he said hi to his wife. Kind of like the couple that wanted to divorce because the wife, she likes to cut her sandwiches diagonally. The husband, when he makes the sandwiches, he cuts them straight in half. They literally come to couples therapy for this, and people think they're crazy. Like, what do you mean? Just cut the sandwiches. But this is a symbolic gesture of the fact that the husband is unwilling to do something so simple for his wife. Another Redditor writes, I have a friend who's a marriage counselor, and basically half his job is just helping two people who hate each other come to the conclusion that it's okay to divorce. That's it. Also, couples therapy is like a wrestling match. These couples, some of them go in there with the sole intention,
To win.
I'm here to win.
Yes.
And who am I winning? the therapist. They're gonna tell me that I'm right and that my partner is wrong. I'm in it to fucking win it. Welcome to couples therapy. But whatever happens in therapy sessions, I mean, it typically does not warrant one spouse trying to kill the other spouse in a slow, painful, long manner via a hitman in a Macy's parking lot, right? Maybe. Dr. Futrell has been a psychiatrist probably longer than most of us have been alive. She's been in practice since 1993. Interestingly, she specializes in child and adolescent psychiatry. But when Grant is 6 years old, Gracie is 2 years old, Angie ends up in Dr. Futrell's office, and she claims that Aaron has been abusive, sexually violating her since she gave birth to Grant.
Oh yeah, we saw this or heard this earlier, that she admitted this to the therapist, though. Doesn't that mean like the therapist can be like, hey cops, she's telling the truth? Or not necessarily telling the truth, but she has been telling me this since she for like a decade or something. And also, even if the husband destroys her phone, the therapist would still have all her notes about what she has been told, correct? Question mark. Unless she threw them away because she was no longer seeing the therapist anymore, so like she didn't want to hold on to something like that. Though I feel like you can't just be like, yeah, this woman told me this bad thing is happening, but I'm not going to tell anybody because of confidentiality or whatever the heck. But I feel like you have to tell them, or at least if they stop coming to therapy, like you have to tell the cops or something, right? Or CPS.
And the final straw was she was going through his stuff, and she allegedly discovers that Aaron has been cheating on her with workers, but more alarmingly, he has been grooming underage girls. It's not entirely clear exactly how she finds out about this and if she was able to collect any evidence at this point. Not that it would matter much, because according to Angie, Aaron would threaten her. If you ever tell anyone about anything, I will make sure you never see our kids again. Who is she even going to tell? According to Angie, Aaron barely lets her talk to anybody, like anyone at all. She can't even go to a haircut appointment by herself to get a haircut because, I don't know, maybe he thinks that she's going to go there and say something to the stylist or even accidentally mention something that would raise the alarms, which means, according to Angie, that both of them are now sitting in Dr. Fortnell's office because even these psychiatrist therapy sessions, he's not letting her go alone. And Angie's probably telling Dr. Fortnell everything, all the way from the beginning. She's probably starting with her childhood. Not great. She says even as an adult, she had to file for an order of protection against her own dad. So clearly, child life, family life, home life, not great for Angie. And it's always been bad, probably worse when she was a kid and living with them. Angie says that she spent pretty much every single waking hour of her life just trying to become a basketball star for her school team because she doesn't want to go home. She doesn't want to focus on her own life. It's miserable. And then she graduates and she decides maybe basketball is not going to pay the bills, so I'm going to be a pharmacist. She spends all of her energy focusing on her own capabilities, such as pharmacy school, graduating, and then becoming a pharmacist. And it's as a pharmacist that she starts talking to Aaron Solomon. Again, they knew each other from high school. They're
Okay, or is she gonna stop being a pharmacist? Because again, the beginning of the video, she said she had no money. Look, you should have like a lot of money, right? If you're a pharmacist, went to college for it.
rekindling their love, and it's just like a fast track to marriage. Okay, I will say that rekindling is perhaps not like the exact word. Angie says in an interview, quote, "Back in high school, Aaron saw me then, and as I learned in my counseling sessions, he was stalking me." So she claims that he was stalking her when she was back in high school. We don't really get more elaboration on this, but she says, you know, he was stalking me. That would have been all the way back in like 1988. I didn't hear from him after that. I brushed him off. He continued to stalk me. Angie says that she was kind of rude to him in high school, and she always regretted it. I mean, she didn't know what kind of person he was back then, but she always just kind of thought about it, and she decided as an adult maybe she would reach out and apologize. And it was easy to remember him from high school, considering that she would turn on Channel 4, and he's right there. Morning anchor news, like sports anchor news. He's just right there on the TV. And she says that at that point, she had her own house, her own car. She manages the pharmacy, so she's not just a pharmacist. She's managing other pharmacists. She's got 2 dogs, a good income. She's very happy, very well adjusted. Aaron Solomon comes into her life, and within 6 weeks of dating, she's pregnant with their first child, Grant, and suddenly getting married in Vegas. She said she was very
Vegas is one of those situations? Like, really? Month and a half of dating, pregnant and married. Like, geez.
excited to have a kid, though. She said that she was very set on being a single mom. But then both Aaron Solomon and her own dad threatened her because they're both very religious. And they said that she needs to be married before giving birth. So they went to Vegas, and they got married. Which is when Angie says, yeah, everything starts falling apart. They get back, he moves into her house, and it's just like a hostile corporate takeover. Aaron starts controlling the finances. He doesn't let her go anywhere without his approval, and he has these mood swings, she says, that was just unpredictable. She claims that he would just go quiet for days, and then out of nowhere, he would go into a fit of anger where he would just berate her constantly for the way she looks, for her capabilities. He would just call her crazy, and sometimes, according to Angie, he would just straight up start physically attacking her, especially once Gracie was born. Angie alleges to her doctors that she found out that Aaron was cheating on her and the family, and he just tells her, yeah, well, I need to have 2 times a day, and that's completely normal.
These are disclosed by the doctor?
These are disclosed by Angie.
Oh, she said, I told this to my doctor.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, it cannot be disclosed by the doctor because that would be a major HIPAA violation, but Angie has posted some doctor's reports.
Okay.
But Angie claims that during her sessions with Dr. Fortnell that Angie was diagnosed with PTSD and Aaron was diagnosed with a sex addiction. Do we have the medical records? No. Did Dr. Fortnell tell us? No. In a lawsuit filed by Aaron against Angie, so Solomon v. Solomon, he firmly denies being ever diagnosed as a sex addict, a narcissist, a sociopath, or anything else that he is being accused of. Even when it comes to therapy, clearly one of them is lying about this.
So when
So the doctor still is not saying anything. So again, that's a problem. I feel like it's not really a good practice. I mean, it is good practice because you don't want anyone to know anything about what's going on. But if you told your therapist, "Hey, I obliterated like 50 people over the span of like 50 years," I mean, that's a long time, but like 50 people over like the span of like 5 years, right? And they're not allowed to tell anybody. Like they now know that you're a serial killer, but like they literally won't tell anybody. So you just get to keep being a serial killer. Like that seems crazy to be like, "Hey, my husband is a predator," and then just continue to let him be a predator because of, the confidentiality or whatever between therapist and patient.
when did Angie come out with all of these information? Is it lately or this was like 10 years ago?
Lately, yes.
And when did the husband sue Angie, the wife?
Lately. Okay, so
This is before the whole murder plot happened?
Yes,
Murder for hire plot?
maybe this will give you a better continuity. In 2013, they have a very contentious divorce. Custody primarily goes to Aaron.
Yeah.
And since 2013, Gracie has been fighting to get the kids back.
Yeah.
They hate
Okay, so they were divorced. That's why she has.
2013,
I guess she has some money.
probably for longer than that. And then in 2020, Grant Solomon dies. And this kickstarts a very public round of accusations being thrown out of whether or not Aaron Solomon is involved in Grant Solomon's death. And this is when everything comes to a national scale. The allegations of sexual abuse against Gracie have been kind of spurring up before 2020, but they really start blowing up around this time.
How did he get so tall? Because he's like taller than both of his parents. Or he was taller than both of his parents. Question mark. Because saying that he killed him. Is Grant even their child? Because I'm confused. I think maybe Stephanie just kind of like goofed earlier because I'm pretty sure isn't Grant older than Grace? I mean, he's freaking tall, so I would assume he's older than Grace. But Stephanie was saying earlier when the wife was pregnant that when Grace came to be, yada yada yada, all the stuff happens. I'm assuming she meant to say Grant. Question marks. I'm assuming Grant was born first, not Grace.
After Grant Solomon, the son, died.
Yes. And this is when Aaron Solomon sues Angie Solomon for defamation
When did the daughter make the video again?
in 2021. And this lawsuit is more so recent. And then in 2025, Angie was arrested for trying to hire a hitman.
Wow.
So this is, I mean,
This is
more than a
ongoing,
decade.
ongoing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Every single person that you ask in Franklin, Tennessee, they seem to have a very different idea, a different opinion about who they think is the lying Solomon. One of Gracie's friends, who's known Gracie since pre-K, she says, well, around the time that the custody battle started, around that time, Gracie gets sent to live with the dad. And suddenly Gracie is not Gracie. Like she just starts looking, according to Gracie's friend, quote, tired and began to be very skinny. I noticed that her eyes were just puffy, but as a kid, I just kind of brushed it off as allergies. I would also notice that she had several bruises and other scratches and scrapes almost all the time. I would ask her about this and the answer was always the same. I fell on the ground. I have only ever been to Aaron's house once, but when I was there, I noticed some strange things. I think we were in the 2nd grade. Gracie had me over for a sleepover, and I noticed there were several dents and other markings on the wall, and that Gracie was very nervous around her dad. As we grew older, Aaron would touch Gracie, even if it's just like placing his hand on her shoulder, she would flinch a bit, and I could just tell that something was wrong. But as a kid, you didn't know that.
That is crazy.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Aaron argues this is just not true. This is not true in the slightest. And he states he should have known that something like this was going to happen. Aaron claims that when he and Angie got into another one of their arguments back in 2013, she said something that he just should have known the flags. She said, quote, and this is according to Aaron, so this is alleged as well, my first husband, I never told him I was going to divorce him, but I'm telling you right now, I'm going to divorce you. It was really weird. Aaron thought it was weird. But then, quote, not long after that, I noticed her saying things and doing things that looked like she was trying to make the kids be on her side. He alleges she would accuse him of abusing her in front of the kids. Like, oh, your dad hit me. Now, maybe she did, and maybe it's true, or maybe it's not true, and she's lying to the kids. He says that, for example, after a particularly brutal fight where he claims that Angie was getting violent with him, he leaves to help her de-escalate. Next morning, quote, she said in front of the children that your daddy left in the middle of the night to go sleep with another woman. I said, Angie, why are you saying that? I said, why are you saying that to the kids? Like, I said, do you want me to tell them that I had to leave because you were trying to attack me physically and abuse me? And she said, I only did that in self-defense. So again, we don't know. It's just like couples therapy, but the worst version ever, amplified by 1,000%.
Yeah, I mean, everything is just hearsay, right? Because there's no documented proof of anything. We just have to assume that they're telling the truth and that he's lying. Right?
Both Angie and Aaron have completely different stories. It seems like both of them want you to believe their version. You tell me which one makes more sense. Remember how Gracie claimed in her YouTube video that Aaron would take upskirt pictures of the minors at homecoming, up their dresses? Well, Angie claims that Aaron has a Snapchat, the username being, who is it, 64? But like, why the hell does he have a Snapchat? Angie claims like
Does he though?
It seems like it. It seems like from the screenshots I've seen, it seems like he has a, but I don't know. I've never been Snapchat. I don't have a Snapchat, but I've never been Snapchatted by him, so I can't
Same thing. I don't have a Snapchat.
confirm to you.
What kind of screenshot are we saying?
Okay, so it was from Grant's phone, and it looked like it was the dad. And then there's also a picture of him shirtless, that he took a selfie shirtless. And it was like something sexual along the lines of, all of your inches want me or something.
Wait,
I mean, that's very like old man coded, I guess we'll say. Like, that is so boomer.
what's the context? He took a Snapchat photo and sent it to somebody.
Yes, but
and
now,
somebody screenshotted that.
yes, but it is believed, I think, that this was not sent to a minor.
No, I don't think I've ever used the word boomer out loud, but it's very boomer coded, I guess. Even though it's like cringe to say something like that, but like, yeah, that just seems like something an older man would do, like shirt off, looking at the camera like this, saying some cringe line.
Okay. Oh, so he was talking to another woman and he sent the
Yes.
photo to. Okay, so he does look like there is a Snapchat.
What I will say is, it does look like he has a Snapchat, in my opinion. I don't know. I've never been Snapchatted by him. It does look like he took a shirtless picture and was maybe hitting on people on Snapchat. He could very well have been sending this to someone of age that is single and does not cross any sort of moral boundary. Or he could have been doing what Angie is claiming he was doing, which was trying to groom underage girls.
Yeah, again, we're just going to assume that he's guilty until proven innocent, though it is 2025. I feel like no evidence is like real evidence anymore because of AI. I think AI's gotten like too good now. So I think AI knows how to do hands now, right? Because I haven't really seen issues with hands anymore. So AI can just fake anything. So we kind of hit the era of not being able to believe any picture or possibly any video you see because AI can just replicate it or just manifest any sort of scenario into existence. Whether like again, whether it be like an image, a video, audio, like anything. At this point, like nothing is real that isn't seen with your own two eyes at this point.
Okay.
Angie claims that Aaron would try to talk to high school girls by going to the kids' games, like his own kids' high school games, sports games. And then he would take pictures, and then Angie alleges he would tell the girls, these high school girls, that, hey, I'm going to send you the pictures, just give me your snap. Which I think anyone of a certain age with a Snapchat is a little crazy, especially when you have kids and you have a Snapchat is a little weird.
Yeah, and also, I don't think that's how you use. Is that how you use Snapchat?
I don't think
You
so.
use it to send photos.
I feel like the photos disappear, so why would you want... Do the photos disappear?
Yeah, but I mean, asking for phone numbers.
Again, I don't know how Snapchat works. Like, I think you can you follow each other? Yeah, you send pictures and videos, and people can see them for X amount of time, right? But then they go away. I don't know if you can try to save them. If you try to save them, I think it tells the person that you saved them. Or something. Or maybe Instagram is the one that tells people that you've done something like that. I don't know. But yeah, like, again, because I don't have Snapchat, I only have known people who've talked about Snapchat, so I don't know how it works exactly.
Is weird too, but maybe Instagram.
Instagram is safer.
Yeah, Snapchat is. I don't know. But
Or like an email. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're like, you have kids, you're
Yeah,
at
yeah,
a school
yeah.
event.
It's weird.
Or just like text it to the parents.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I would do. It's just kind of strange.
No, that's actually really creepy. Imagine like
Yeah.
you're at a sports game, like you're doing this at school, and then a parent's like, "Give me your Snapchat."
Oh, that's terrifying.
That's
yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
But also, I can't imagine the other way. I can't imagine being like, what's your Snapchat to someone that's decades
Yeah.
younger than you is so bizarre.
Yeah.
Very bizarre. Now, I will say, it does seem like he has a Snapchat. I don't know if he's reaching out to young girls or if he's even telling them that he's going to send them pictures through Snapchat, but that is what Angie is claiming. I would imagine that every single resident in Franklin, Tennessee has heard about these different arguments. There is even a contentious point about, did Aaron Solomon quit his job working as a news anchor, or was he fired? Angie claims that Aaron Solomon was more or less forced into resigning from his position. He was a sports news anchor for Channel 4, and Angie says one day they find inappropriate materials, pictures, videos, NSFW things on his work computer and his
Okay, we can just ask Channel 4. Is that what happened?
And to avoid a big, massive scandal with the TD network, they basically back him into a corner and they say, you got to resign. So they don't have to deal with a big fallout for a newscaster being exposed for doing something like this in their organization. That's what Angie says. She does later elaborate, claiming that some of those pictures probably included her, and apparently people from his workplace saw it and told her that she did not look awake, insinuating that she had been drugged and potentially positioned for these pictures.
Wow.
Aaron, on the other hand, argues that is not what happened at all. He says he was working in the sports department. They moved him to the morning news segment, which he loved. He loved telling people about the weather and what was going to happen that day. But then, because of structural changes and new leadership, they wanted him back to sports, and he felt like that was a demotion of sorts. And Angie herself even encouraged him to quit and find a position at a company where he would actually be appreciated for his work. Also, Aaron argued that he thought it was perhaps a good time for him to take some time away from work, because Angie's uneasy behavior, he claims, is escalating at this point. That is what Aaron is saying. He states that he was concerned about his wife since around 2012. At one point in 2012, Gracie had to have eye surgery, and according to Aaron, Gracie starts sleeping in their bed after the surgery to recover. And then Grant starts falling a little sick, and he wants to sleep in their bed too. And so now Grant and Gracie are both in the bedroom for like 9 months. And Aaron is saying, we gotta get the kids out of here because this isn't normal, and like they gotta grow up, they gotta sleep in their own rooms. This is not healthy. And Angie is unwilling to do that. He describes her as being reluctant and almost dependent on the children. That's what he says. I'm not sure. I'm not a parent. I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing. I have no clue, right? But I don't know if that's particularly a great, spectacular example of being dependent on the kids, but here we are. Another claim, an example he gives in his lawsuit, and this is one time, Aaron said that he was trying to get fresh bedding for Grant's bed. I guess they're doing sheets. They're washing the sheets, and Aaron is like, I'm going to put the sheets on Grant's bed, the fresh sheets. Just a simple task. Angie, however, according to Aaron, gets very mad at him. And she's like, I want to do it. I want to do the sheets. He's like, okay, it's just sheets. You do the sheets then. He stops.
How old is Grant at this point? Question mark. Because like, why are they doing the sheets instead of just Grant doing the sheets himself?
Then all the kids are in the house, and in front of the kids, Angie's doing the sheets, and she's loudly complaining about how she had to go find the sheets. She had to go find the bedding, and now she has to make the bed herself, and nobody wants to help her. Nobody ever does anything. And he claims that he was just shocked because she was the one that told him not to do the sheets. Eventually, Aaron does get a new job because he thinks things are getting better again, but he claims that Angie just started getting upset and reactive to the point where he would come home with paychecks from his new job, and Angie would just start spending them extravagantly. He states one time she went to Dick's Sporting Goods and spent over $1,000 worth of things that nobody needed. He secretly...
How do you spend $1,000 at Dick's Sporting Goods? What? Hello? I think I've been in one before. I think so. I don't remember all of what's in there, but it's literally a sporting good place. So like, what would you spend the money on other than just I want to waste money for evil? Question mark. Right? But yeah, like what would you buy in there?
had to go back and return them. And even then she was freaking out. And it's not just that. He claims Angie would just start turning the kids against him and trying to convince the kids that he was abusive. As stated in his lawsuit, Aaron claims that after the divorce, he just wanted Angie to get better mentally. Angie is just constantly criticizing Aaron's parenting to the kids and, quote, mischaracterizing his normal and completely reasonable parenting rules, such as appropriate bedtime and limits on screen time, as controlling and crazy. So he's saying he would make sure that the kids go to bed at a certain time. Then he's saying that Angie would turn around and say, your dad is crazy. I wouldn't do that. No parent does that. That's so controlling and manipulative.
So he's listing out all of these details in the lawsuit. And the lawsuit is for what?
It's for defamation. Yes. Now, Angie's dad, who testifies in court against his own daughter, and we're going to get into all of that. Yeah, Angie's dad takes Aaron Solomon's side. But remember, Angie said her child life was not good. She had to file an order of protection against her own dad as an adult. And now the dad is testifying with her ex-husband, who she is saying is also an abuser. So
wow,
it's very complicated.
Yeah.
This is the dad, right? He claims that Angie would convince the kids that their father was being unreasonable and unfair because of all of these things, and she would come up with new claims and new allegations all the time. Angie's dad says that she would just start going around telling everyone that Aaron told the kids that she was dead, but like he never did that, is what he's claiming. So Angie would say, he took the kids away from me, and then he told the kids that I'm dead. So the kids are so traumatized, they think that their mom is dead, but I'm not dead, you know? That's what she's saying. The other side is saying, we never told them that they're dead. But Gracie's saying, I thought my mom was dead.
Okay.
Yeah, like, I mean, she made an entire video about that, so.
Okay.
Aaron and his side, which includes Angie's parents and her sister, they say that the allegations are obviously very serious, but they say it's not true. They say that Aaron allegedly essaying his daughter Gracie, allegations that Aaron would control their food intake. So Angie was telling people that Aaron was obsessed with them being sports, like athletes. He would control their food intake, make sure that they were emaciated, perfect for performance. And then on top of that, he would even randomly just control their bathroom habits. If you had to use the restroom, you would have to do it in the allotted specific time of the day. If you don't, you cannot use the restroom. If you don't have to go number 2, for example, in that time period from 3 to 4 p.m., you can't ever use the restroom until 3 to 4 p.m. the next day.
Now, does Aaron deny those as well?
Yes.
He does.
It seems kind of crazy, especially since you can maybe even further verify that by looking at the damage to, you know, either their bowels, though. Grant's gone, right? So you have to look at Grace's, you like get Grace an X-ray or whatever you would do to like see if there's any damage from like not being able to use the bathroom every day.
Denies everything.
He denies everything.
He said this never happened.
Yeah.
And Angie is brainwashed by the mother? Is that what he's...
Gracie is brainwashed by the
Gra-
mother?
Gracie,
yes,
yeah.
he's saying that Gracie is brainwashed by the mother.
How old is Gracie now?
She should be 18 now.
Huh. But this happened like when she was a teenager or younger.
This was happening when she was young. Like 2013, she's young.
She's young. Wow.
So I kind of had just like a weird thought here. We're blaming the dad on Grant's death, but what if it was actually the mom who got rid of Grant? Because maybe Grant, because this is like on the side of that. Maybe Grant was on the dad's side and had info and testimony of being like, yeah, mom's crazy. So then she already was trying to hire a hitman for the dad. So what's stopping her from getting rid of the son to try to prove her point? Question mark. I don't know. There's like no way in heck that's what happened, but it's just a thought that came to mind of a scenario that could have been played out here. Is that they actually got rid of Grant so that the Grant wouldn't prove that the dad's innocent.
Wow.
Yeah. Aaron claims that not only is Angie out here making these really big, despicable claims of abuse, but also, according to his lawsuit, he claims that Angie would bizarrely allege other forms of abuse. Quote, she complained to a close friend that Mr. Solomon had abused the children by taking them to swim in a motel pool while visiting a relative.
That's it?
That's it. Just like taking them to a motel pool was abusive, is what he's claiming Angie allegedly told a friend.
Okay.
But at least in the early stages of this marriage, nothing is as contentious as what happened in the shower on May 9th, 2013. Depending on who you ask, the shower incident is going to sound vastly different. If you ask Aaron Solomon, he will say, it is the day that Angie tried to self-exit. If you ask Angie, she's going to tell you, it's the day that Aaron Solomon tried to kill her. Aaron says, that night, it was just the two of them in the living room. Angie's not happy, but what's new? He says he doesn't even remember what Angie is mad about. In the Solomon house, arguments are naturally occurring at any given moment. He's sitting there listening to Angie, and he claims just out of nowhere, she throws out a quick little, I'm going to end it. I've been thinking about it. I know how to do it, and I know what I'm going to do. And she just allegedly calmly walks out of the living room into the primary bedroom where both Grant and Gracie have fallen asleep in the primary bedroom, in the parents' bed. Aaron claims clearly this is making him worried because why is she walking in there after she just said this? She walks in, she locks the bedroom door. Then he can hear her walking into the bathroom, locking the bathroom door. So he says, quote, it took a couple of minutes to get through both sets of doors. When I opened the second door into the bathroom, I couldn't believe it. She had wrapped the hairdryer cord. So I guess a blow dryer, the cord, the electrical cord, around her neck 3 to 4 times. And the hairdryer was like resting there and the other part she was like plugged in. It was attached to the shower head. Honestly, I was trying to map it out in my head.
Oh.
I was like, what? Okay, she has the cord around her neck. The top of it's on the thing. She's gonna try to like soft hang herself while being in the tub, possibly being electrocuted at the same time.
She had wrapped the hairdryer cord. So I guess a blow dryer, the cord, the electrical cord, around her neck 3 to 4 times. And the hairdryer was like resting there and the other part she was like plugged in. It was attached to the shower head. Honestly, I was trying to map it out.
I was like, what? Was it just okay? Yeah, I'm so confused on it now. Cause that, like maybe she's trying to like hang off of the shower head, but she said something about the shower head. I'm so confused.
Out of my head.
Oh, she tied one end to the shower head.
Yes, and she
Okay, so she did tie it to the shower head. Okay, let's, even though it's gonna be like macabre, let's see if we can like map that out. So let's say like, you know, here's the wall, there's the shower head, I guess, and then tub. I think she said it plugged in, so let's like assume that like somewhere over here is the plug, like into the wall. I just do that for a second, like that's plugged into the wall, and I'm not gonna draw anything here, but we're just gonna assume this is like the tie around, and then that's up here, and like that's tied around there with the hair dryer hanging off of that. Like I'm not gonna like go into big detail. Let's just assume this is the hair dryer, right? I think that's what we're looking at right now. Question mark. Like this is very elaborate. They like have the faucet there as well for the tub. Cause like, what are you trying to do? Like you're trying to hang. You know, you're trying to hang and be in water at the same time, possibly, so that you can be electrocuted. Though this is hanging here, I guess maybe like there would be more give here, so you could put the hair dryer in the tub whilst being hung at the same time. It's like, why are you being so elaborate? That is like, what? I'm so confused on that.
was slumped at the bottom of the shower. And I immediately could tell that she had not snapped her neck. Her hands were turning purple though. Her face was turning red. And so I immediately undid it, the rope or the cord. And it took maybe 3 to 4 minutes for her to come to. She was breathing. She had a pulse. I got a cold cloth. I rubbed it on her head and I tried to get her to come to. When she came to, she became semi-violent. She wanted to push me away, get away from me. She kicked at me. Don't try to help me. We went into the living room where she proceeded to get violent with me and said that she was going to beat the hell out of me for the next 2.5 hours until the kids woke up. She proceeded to attack me, tried to hit me, scratch me, pull me, all of that. At that time, I tried to defend myself, get away, grab my cell phone, which was charging, and I went out the front door. I got in our car, I drove to Kroger, which is roughly about 3 to 4 blocks down Abbott Martin Road.
Okay, not a good idea. Minus points for him because you just left your children with a crazy woman in this person's story, assuming that he's telling the truth. Bad parenting. Because you like prioritized yourself over your children. Because again, you just left a crazy one with your children. Hello. So that's kind of like a issue with the story right now. And the elaborate like Rube Goldberg freaking setup she had to try to hang herself in the bathroom.
Road. He claims, I never hit her, never struck her, I've defended myself physically. I tried to keep her away from me a number of times, but that's it. He doesn't immediately call 911 that night because he says that he didn't want to upset the kids, which is an interesting thing because he also just like leaves the kids with Angie in this allegedly heightened emotional state.
Yeah, again, like I just said, like, what do you mean you left a crazy one with your children?
But I'm not a parent. I just thought that was weird. He argues that it's because, quote, she was getting loud. I was really worried that the kids were going to wake up and see this, and that's why I left. So he's saying, like, if I just excuse myself, I know that she's not going to hurt the kids. Is what he claims, but I don't know. I just feel like you can never be too sure. He says, that's why I left, to calm the situation, drive down a few blocks. However, Angie presents the story very differently. She says it was another one of those nights. Aaron's eyes are yellow. Yeah, his eyes get yellow when he is very upset. He's the one freaking out. He's getting mad. He's starting another fight, which is very common. It's one of those nights, and she says, quote, he started chasing me. They were fighting in the living room, and Angie says he chases her. So she's running as fast as she can. And she runs into the primary bedroom where the kids are asleep. She locks the door. She runs into the primary bathroom. And, quote, before I knew it, he had the wire around my neck. She says he's simultaneously pushing her down while pulling the rope up, like the wire up, and choking her. And she's trying to fight back. She said, I knew based on prior experience, if I could yell his name loud enough, sometimes he would snap out of it, come back to reality. So that's what I was doing. I was screaming his name over and over again.
Okay, so we're saying that he just has fits of rage where he just blacks out and becomes a monster? And like, you have to yell his name to snap him out of it? Like, what?
Angie said
That's weird.
He has 8 personalities, but it felt like that night the 9th one was coming out.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't want to say like something like that, but like really, he has multiple personality disorder, whatever it's called. Because I'm pretty sure they keep changing the name, or like the original name wasn't correct, so we're just gonna say multiple personality disorder. So both stories seem a bit weird. Like his is really weird. Again, the Rube Goldberg setup that she had to hang herself, and then him leaving the kids with her. And this is like, oh, all of a sudden he has like 8 personalities, and one of them's like a monster that just like destroy her if he doesn't say her name or say his name a bunch of times. Like, what?
She says, quote, and he said, don't worry, this will be quick and painless. But it wasn't the only time that I had survived an attack on my life. It was the first time that I had seen that personality, and that thing was going to kill me. It was monstrous, and it looked like a monster, and I knew immediately that I was in terrible danger. I was in trouble. I look up, and Grant was standing right behind him. He had woken up. The only reason Aaron stopped, according to Angie, his attempt at killing Angie, is because their son Grant woke up and came into the bathroom. Which, okay, Aaron is claiming that Angie tried to self-exit and freaked out on him when he saved her. Angie is claiming that Aaron tried to kill her and only stopped when Grant, their son, woke up. So why can't you just ask Grant Solomon which version is true? Because in 2020, Grant Solomon mysteriously dies.
Yeah, again, like, that's what I'm saying is why. So in either end, whether or not he's telling the truth or she's telling the truth, Grant probably would have been the person to be like, yeah, this person is the one who's truthful. And just the fact that he's gone means like we don't know. He just seems to be like the key piece here of getting the truth out. But one or the other is potentially the reason why he's gone. They're saying that he did it, but the mom has already proven that she would hire someone to get rid of somebody. So you could argue that it's not past her to do this to her son. I mean, it's her son, but again, I don't know. Oh, what? Is this an ad break? I wasn't expecting an ad break. I think it is. Yeah, like I just skipped through it. It was only like a minute or something. I don't know. It's just her promoting this whatever this movie or show
Plus for
is.
bundle subscribers. Terms apply. July 2020. Grant had just turned 18 like a month ago, and he
Sure.
is a star baseball player, which means colleges are already calling. And his dad, a former sports newscaster, wants to make sure that he only gets the best calls, which is why they're driving an hour away to this warehouse turned practice location. It's called the Ward Performance Institute in Gallatin, Tennessee. It is now closed. It's like a windowless warehouse style gym. I imagine that's where like a boot camp gym style would be. It looks cool. The inside looks great, very well done, but it has that hardcore energy to it, and you're just there to focus on baseball and nothing else. It has been debated whether or not Grant and Aaron had an appointment that day, but if it is true, then it would have been at 9 a.m. At this point, Grant and Gracie are living with Angie. It's like back and forth custody. They're constantly fighting to get the kids. At this point, the kids are living with Angie. So Grant is driving separately to meet with his dad, Aaron, both at this 1 hour away practice location.
Why is it debated if there was appointment?
Both parties argue. So Aaron Solomon and his side argue that there was an appointment, and that's why they went, and they were actually early to their appointment, so they had some time in the parking lot. Angie and her side argue, no, we found out that they don't have an appointment, but the center is now closed, so no one can really, and I don't even think that they would disclose.
What?
So
I
no
feel
one
like that's
knows.
such an easy thing to
Yeah.
get an answer. What?
So it's been debated. According to Angie, Grant really did not want to go to Gallatin that morning. He was not
There's so much stuff where it's just like you can't prove it. There's no evidence. Can't prove it. Can't prove it. Therapists can't talk about it. Confidentiality. Like there's nothing to hold on to.
Yeah.
Get an answer. What?
So it's been debated. According to Angie, Grant really did not want to go to Gallatin that morning. He was not feeling well. He had just recovered from COVID. His lungs weren't doing great. He just didn't even want to overexert himself and make it worse for his performance later on. But alas, he's going. I mean, whether that's self-motivated and not wanting to disappoint himself, or maybe it's not wanting to disappoint his dad, or he just wanted to go. I don't know. It's unclear.
I'm so sorry. Notes on the appointment.
Yes.
It was debated, right?
Yes.
Well, wouldn't there be some kind of record, like some kind of text message or email or something? Or
Yeah, I will say that there's so much online, but especially with this particular incident, everything feels like you see one thing online and you see documentation and you feel like, oh, that looks very legit. But then the other party is like, that's absolutely not legit. And that's not what happened.
okay.
So everything, it's like no one can agree. So we can't even be sure that things are certain.
Okay.
Even the police reports of this incident of Grant's death are pretty sparse. There's like not a lot of public police reports, and they're very thin. Very thin.
Is it strange to you?
It is strange, but also we couldn't FOIA it. We couldn't get a FOIA request. Now, typically, like whatever you can find online for public police reports are very slim compared to when you get a FOIA request. And then you have a typically more dense police report. Sometimes you can get the court reporter to give you court transcripts, and then you get like a better picture. This, it's like so thin. And they're being released by potentially parties involved.
So it can be more specific, selective.
Yes. So it's just really tricky.
Okay. Okay.
Now, Grant drives up to the parking lot, parks next to his dad. And then 10 minutes later, Aaron Solomon is calling 911, stating in a very strange tone that his son is trapped, pinned under his truck. His own truck, Grant's own truck. He is now under his own truck,
How?
and he can't get out.
1357. My son's truck backed over him, and it's rolled over him and drug him into the ditch, and it's on top of him. He's trapped under the truck, and somehow it drug him underneath it. Yes, my son is under it. I'm trying to call 911.
It's almost like he's talking to someone that's also present at the scene. Now, the operator is asking him, okay, what's your name? My name is Aaron Solomon. Okay, how old is the male?
He's 18. He just turned 18 a couple weeks, about a month ago. It's my son. Oh my God. Oh my God, this is not good.
Is he awake and
Oh, please
talking to
hurry.
you?
I don't think so. He's not alert, right? No, he's out. And he's trapped. I got 3 guys here, and he's trapped under the truck.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay, it's very strange. It seems vague. It's interesting because, she says he's not alert, right? Which would imply that he should be checking on him, but it sounds like he's not the one confirming. So it sounds like he's not the one visually seeing that his son is not alert. He's getting this information from someone else at the scene, but he's at the scene.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah,
if
he
this is your son, you should be.
You should be under the truck.
Yeah.
But he's not. And his voice is,
Well, he is trying to talk to, 911. So still, I don't know. Does the other 3 guys? You said there's 3 guys there, right? So are the 3 guys trying to get Aaron out whilst he's talking to 911? Question mark. Right? Because he's talking to them. I'm assuming they're trying to get him out of there, but it's not happening, and we know how it ends, right? Like he doesn't come out of it alive. But I can't really say for sure that he's not acting the way he should be acting? Question mark. Again, I keep saying he's guilty until proven innocent, and I'm not. And when I say that, I'm not using it in a way to be like, not like everyone's treating him that way. Like, no, I am okay being like he's guilty until proven innocent, but doesn't mean I'm also not gonna be like, okay, maybe everything we're trying to be like and say that he's like bad is 100%, but like I'm fine with him being the bad guy. But I'm also like fine with trying to play devil's advocate, because I'm always trying to play devil's advocate to have something to talk about. So I just think he is nearby trying to get 911 here as fast as possible whilst some other people are trying to help us send out.
Is a lot of people say eerily calm. He's saying like, oh my god, this is not good. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I mean, that was a pretty good whimper. I don't know what you were talking about.
Oh my god.
Was your son working on it?
Very valid question.
Yeah.
Very lack of direct communication in times of panic. I mean, I get it, it's understandable, but you also have to see that it's very vague what he's giving to the operator. Grant ended up under his truck. We don't know how. No. He was just getting out of it. So he wasn't working under the truck. He's getting out of the truck.
We're on an incline, and I guess he didn't have it in park or something, or it wasn't engaged, or... Oh my god. Oh
Is
my
your
god, I
son
can't
still
believe
not
this.
responding?
No.
And he's still
No.
under the truck. No one can get
Yes.
out from under it.
No,
We saw units en route to you. I'm just asking you
No, because he's starting to panic now.
questions before we can
Huh?
update him, okay? Can you check and see
Huh?
if he's breathing?
Somebody's telling me that he's coming too.
Okay,
Maybe.
He is waking up,
Maybe.
kind of keeping still. So he is
Well, he
breathing.
can't move. I don't think he can move. I don't know.
Okay, I
No, he
understand.
can't move. He's trapped.
Okay, well, we got somebody en route. Now, when he wakes up, he might
I'm
be
telling him,
scared. Can somebody
I'm
get
telling
down there
him.
and talk to him?
Yeah, somebody talked to him. Shit. There's blood. Is he facing up or down? He's facing up. They said he may aspirate. We need to hurry.
What is
my God.
going on? This is such a weird call.
It's such a bizarre.
It is like who are these people are there? It's almost like they're paramedics, but they're not, obviously, right? The operator got like a little bit of tood there at one point. I don't know why. I just noticed that, but it's because he started. It sounded like he started panicking because he just started saying, no, yes, whatever, right? Like his voice seems legit to me here, but he also is a news anchor, right? So maybe he's a good actor. Who knows?
Bizarre call. So does he have blood coming out of his mouth?
Yeah, there's blood coming out. Yeah, somehow it drug him down, I think. I don't know whether it wasn't in park or what, or if it didn't engage the brake, or...
See, that sounds a bit weird though, this part, because he's too calm. Like in a lot of his words, there's a lot of warble in there. That doesn't sound fake. That moment where it seemed like he was about to start panicking, that sounded real. This though, that's a bit too relaxed. I don't know. We're just assuming from what he's saying is that they got out of the car. He didn't put it in park. And I guess they swung around behind the car for some reason. I mean, that would make sense because you might get some gear to do your sports stuff out the trunk. But then, like, maybe opening the trunk caused it to jostle, right? And then because it's not in park or brake or whatever, it ended up rolling backwards onto him, question mark. That's an easily plausible scenario that I would not have issues believing.
It drug him underneath somehow.
Okay.
They said he's facing up,
Okay.
but he's bleeding from his mouth. So, Grant, turn your face to the side if you can, barely, but be careful.
Don't move him, okay?
No, we can't move him. We can't move him.
That provides no context. So
Is that the sound of the sirens in the background you heard at the very end? So he fell into a ditch, right? So I'm assuming why he's not near Grant is because he's like way off in a ditch somewhere, right? But it's like, why are these other people like so far away? Is he so far down that it's not easy to get to him, and these other people are just like have better vantage points? Question mark, or seeing him? I don't know. Because again, like she's saying, it's so vague we can't tell like what is happening in this image. But I'm kind of like painting that picture, right? They get out of the car, he gets something out of the trunk, car's not parked, it rolls him over, but he gets snagged in the, I don't know, the steering stuff underneath not the hydraulics, but I was just saying the steering stuff, like all this stuff that's underneath the car. He gets snagged underneath there, and it just drags him down with it into like a ditch somewhere, and it's hard to get to that ditch.
I am going to try to give you as much context as possible after telling you about this 911 call. The training facility is located on a hill. So it's
Okay, so where is it at? Okay, so what are we gonna say happens? So if he was here, right? Where would it have rolled to? It's hard to tell what's going on here, but there's a solid wall here. So unless it broke this, I don't know. Or it somehow went over? You know, like that down there, because that clearly is a very far drop, as you can see, because I'm assuming this is the top of this tree here. You know, that's this tree right there. It's not a bush. So we have like the other half of this tree plus its trunk. So this is like a good, what, 20-foot drop? Not quite 20, but let's say like a 20-foot drop here. So like, what are we saying happened? We didn't know what happened with this car. So did he get drugged out of there and then it started picking up speed and momentum and then like somehow jumped over this and fell down and he's down in the ditch? Like maybe like the dad is here on the phone, you know, looking down in there, but there's people who have come from over here to go look. You know, like people like over, because it looked like the wall stops here and this is just open area. Because that's the sidewalk, but we can't tell if there's a railing here. Because the only way to get down there would be like to go pretty far around and go down there. Which would maybe explain why the dad's not there. Because the only way to get down there is to like jump 20 feet and break your legs, right? Or walk all the way around and walk back down. Like it's probably as soon as it happened, he ran over there, looked down, saw that it happened, called the police, and then people who were nearby ran down there from a better vantage point. Again, we're just like trying to play devil's advocate here. That seems a completely plausible scenario, right? Outside of the fact that the car jumps over this rail down the 20-foot drop. Like it might have broken the railing, but I mean, what's the point of the railing if it's going to break so easily, right? So it could have just hit in a way to vault over this, but again, who knows what happened. That's just like a scenario that I could come up with from just seeing this picture.
It's right off a pretty busy road. I was looking at like the Google Earth view and stuff, and it doesn't seem like a middle of nowhere road, which is intriguing later when you see all of the facts of this
Go back to that, because that was a pretty decent picture there.
road. I was looking at like the Google Earth view and stuff, and it
I think like this is steeper, so maybe he even parked here and built up a lot of momentum there and then like vaulted over.
doesn't seem like a middle of nowhere road, which is intriguing later when you see all of the facts of this case. It's a road, then you turn right. I would imagine you turn right, and it's up this hill. It looks steep. It's a cement little pathway up the hill onto the little parking lot. It's not even a parking lot. There's no parking lot lines. It's just a few spaces you can park on this hill, and there's this warehouse on top. It looks like it's in a more industrial part of the neighborhood. It doesn't look like this very cutesy Barry's boot camp, Soul Cycle type of facility. It looks like you go there just to train for baseball, and that's it. You're not here for a smoothie next door. This is a facility. There's no windows. There's just this garage door that is down at the time and a small black door that has no windows that you can enter through. It's very efficiently done. I mean, no part of this facility was done for aesthetics. Even the parking area. Only half of the parking area is cement. The other part is grass. So you have this strip going up. And on the sides of the strip of cement are just grass and rocks, like giant rocks. I would say they're like watermelon sized. Some of them are fist sized. A lot of them are grapefruit to watermelon sized.
Why is that blood? Blood here? So, okay, are what we saying, because that looked like it had blood on it, is my idea not even plausible? Because like what I was saying was like way more, made more sense for what he was doing, but if the car literally just would have been like about here, right? Just rolled down and then got stuck here in the ditch. Is that all that happened? Question mark? Is he got rolled down to here? Because this is like kind of like a ditch, right? With these rocks. Because it's like, where the heck is the dad? Like over here? And then you just have like the three guys around here looking at the truck. But, you know, he isn't like nearby. I don't know. Because if we're going to say this is where he was stuck, then it's like, what? That's it? Because if you look here, like there's red here, I think, like that's red. There's a little bit of red there. That might just be like shadow, but I don't know, right? Because that looks red. Again, could it be shadow? Same thing there. In here, and there, and then like this entire part here looks like blood. But that whole area, and then of course more there.
Like giant rocks. I would say they're like watermelon sized. Some of them are fist sized. A lot of them are grapefruit to watermelon size. Watermelon is pretty big. That maybe there's like 1 or 2 watermelon size. Maybe more grapefruit size. But they're pretty jagged rocks. They don't look like pebbles or stones. They don't look like someone bought them and put them there. They look like they were already there. So you got all these rocks and then grass on the side. And then once you get past this little driveway, then you just have a little strip of concrete and you can park. That's it. It makes sense that they would not get rid of the grass or the rest of the hill because you couldn't even really park there because of the way that the incline is done. It just wouldn't be feasible. So they did it just where you can actually park. If you want to be very simplistic about it, parking lot is on a hill. There is a ditch at the bottom of the hill with big rocks. That's as simple as it gets. Now, the ditch in pictures sometimes looks short, but videos of people who have gone out there, they say if you stand at the bottom of the ditch where the rocks are and you stand
Yeah, it's pretty deep, like a foot down.
up tall, it's maybe about like 5 feet, 3 inches tall.
The ditch is 5 feet tall, so you're basically in the ditch.
You're in the ditch. Like, I think it would be pretty hard to climb out of that ditch unless you walk to the sidewalk and then walk up the cement pathway, the driveway.
Okay, I
Because
see.
it's just grass.
I see.
It's just rocks and grass.
I see.
Now, the medical report states that when emergency personnel get to the scene, they find an 18-year-old man lying on his back on large rocks in a ditch. He is underneath the front of the truck.
Okay, so that's where he's at right now. So now, like wherever the dad is like kind of weird. Like that's kind of weird. But if seeing this like this, yeah. I mean, I don't know how he would have like this would have happened to him, unless like same scenario, but like on the mom's side or like the son's side would be same thing, but the dad's still in the car, whilst the son is in the trunk getting his sports stuff. Dad disengages park or whatever, maybe even like tries to make the car reverse, like puts it in reverse and then tries to like hit the pedal from the passenger seat. It runs him over and then they get stuck in the ditch and then he gets out of the car before anybody notices that he was in the car. Question mark. Maybe even like sets the car back into neutral or something, right? And looking at this picture here, he would have been pretty messed up if he got like dragged down into this ditch, right? Because the front of the car is basically touching these rocks. So he would have got dragged down on like concrete to begin with, and getting snagged in the stuff underneath the car, but then like basically rolled over these rocks, all like scraped against these rocks, would have been like pretty brutal too. So I mean, obviously he died, so unfortunately. But again, like which one was it? Did the dad take the car out of park, or was the car just like literally not in park and it was an accident? Is what we're trying to like figure out here.
Between the 2 front tires. So his head, he's facing up, he's on his back, and his head is in between the 2 front tires. So his feet are facing the street, but the truck is facing the facility. The medical
Also now, like there's no like real reason to assume that the mom would have gotten rid of him, because this is something that happened when he was with the dad. So it's either it was an accident or the dad got rid of him because of evidence, because he needed to like not have him expose him.
report states the weight of the vehicle was supported by the wheels and was not being exerted upon onto the patient. So it's not like the car is crushing him. This is very important, meaning Grant is laying on his back on the rocks in the ditch. His truck is on top of him, but it's not suffocating him. It's not crushing him. Technically, if he were uninjured, he could maybe crawl out of there. I don't know if he would because of the rocks being jagged, but maybe he could if it was flat land. Upon initial impression, patient is noted to be unresponsive but breathing and is noted to have some bleeding from the scalp, nose, and ears. Primary assessment is limited due to inability to access the patient. Patient is with no obvious deformities upon assessment, although assessment is limited. Detailed assessment findings are as noted previously. So they're able to move the truck off of Grant, rush him to the hospital, but he is pronounced dead. And so now everyone has so many questions.
What was the cause of death?
Yes, like how, if he wasn't really that hurt, how did he die? He did have COVID before, so was it just like COVID amped here caused him to die because he was still having difficulties, and then he like maybe suffocated because his lungs weren't healthy? Because like maybe like he panicked too much and his lungs gave out? I don't know.
It was cardiac arrest, actually.
What?
Yeah, so even just
Get a
looking
heart
at the picture
attack?
of Grant's car in the ditch, it doesn't feel right. Even that 911 call, netizens say it's very freaky. Like, why does the dad sound so cold? Why does he sound so distant? One comment reads, he sounds as concerned as somebody ordering a pizza delivery. Like, somebody, what the f is happening? Like, this is what evil sounds like. Another person comments, we need to
Sure,
hurry.
but
That's what the dad said. Yet he isn't there to help him. Why isn't he near his son? Also, the part where he's like, Grant, if you can, move your
That's
head to the
crazy.
side.
Grant, turn your face to the side if you can, barely, but be careful.
That sounds a little
Insane.
performative,
Yeah.
maybe.
I mean, another
like I'm not agreeing with any of that stuff. I do think like there's something up with what he's saying, but like performative, I don't think he's being performative. I do think there is something weird about how he's talking though. 'Cause sometimes again, like I said, like I feel like yeah, that sounded like panic genuinely. The warble in his voice sounded legitimate in some places. Again, he is news anchor, so it could just be acting, good acting. A lot of people are probably going to disagree. Going to end up on my next haterade segment, but it's just the distance. Like I wish we had like video of like what this looked like. Cause like where is he in relation to this car?
Another comment reads, what the actual heck? I can hold my hand on my heart and swear on the Holy Bible wild horses would not be able to stop me from trying to help my child. He is not the least bit bothered. No emotion in his voice, no words of comfort to his son, nothing.
Yeah, like that is like the biggest issue with him on the phone is like, why aren't you down there with him? Like, where are you? I need to know where he was in relation to this car.
However, some people are defending Aaron. Some people write, conspiracy theorists are so funny to me. The dad is not calm here at all. He's trying to stay in control and communicate. You people are all so crazy. Not everyone is a sexual abuser. Not every female tells the truth.
I mean, it didn't have to add that last part, because as soon as you add that last part, Stephanie's not on your side, right? So like, oof, there, because you got to look at her face, like she's already gonna be like, oh, this is some sort of incel, whatever. But again, I'm semi on that side though of like, I don't think we have to like jump to the conclusion that he is lying in that case. Like he probably is, because again, we're assuming he's guilty until proven innocent, but I'm not 100% convinced that he's not telling the truth, but I'm also not convinced that something isn't weird going on too at the same time. So I'm not on either side, but I am more on the side of like he is troubled by the scenario of what's happening there.
Which I feel like that part, I mean, you can be on Aaron's side. We don't know what happened, but also like that tells me everything I need to know about the commentator. But
see, I mean, I literally just have Stephanie written like a book. Like I know everything. Like I knew exactly how she was going to react to that.
not every female tells the truth. Horrible accident, but it happens 210 times a year. This exact same thing. Victims are always between 18 to 23. As a mom, it's a very sad tragedy, but it's very disturbing how the internet thinks it's both the judge and the jury. And this dad is not calm at all. As a parent, he's frantically trying to control himself. I will say, there was someone in my hometown that was in a very similar accident when I was really young. This was like childhood times, but car ran over. Car parked on a hill, was not engaged in park, and it ended up killing him. But with that one, there were no conspiracies. There were no whispers around town. It was very clear it was an accident. Like, it was very clear what happened. There were no allegations. There were not even like little bits of people being like, oh, that was weird. Like, you remember that? No one talks about it, but it was weird. Don't you think it was weird? It was devastating and it was a lot, but there was no there was no contention. There was no discourse around the events.
Yeah.
There
Sure.
was no discourse on like, how can we prevent this from happening to others? But this is weird.
Okay, question. Who was there?
Exactly. Aaron said,
Okay, who are the three people? Did they help him? Because that's like the problem, right? Are these accomplices to the murder?
that there were 3 witnesses that were there that were helping him talk to Grant, that were
Though this is a busy highway, so like you could assume like so many people drove by to see what was going on. So many people could have seen these guys up to no good.
surveying, and they briefly were assessing if they can try to take the car or the truck off of Grant. One of the employees that eventually comes out of the facility, they didn't see anything. Also, there's no security cameras. There's no security cameras in this facility. There's no street cameras. So one of the employees that comes out of the building later on, this is, I believe, after the 911 call, they say that they saw 3 witnesses that were there, and they were wearing like construction vests. But by the time that the police get there, the witnesses are gone.
You're kidding me.
They don't give their statement, and they have not come forward to this day to say, oh yes, I was there, and let me tell you what I saw.
Latest updates on the witnesses in the next episode. The heck do you mean next episode, Stephanie? I didn't realize this was going to be a multi-parter. Was his name Smith? Because I kept thinking in my head, the Smith case, right? The police officer who was found dead at another police officer's front yard, and they tried to blame it on the girlfriend, but it made more sense for it to not be her, right? We're going to refer that to the Smith case. Like, is this going to turn out to be the Smith case all over again? I was kind of hoping it was, but like not really at the same time. But just because now we're committed to a long story that I have to keep coming back to, but that's fine, right? It's just like I wasn't ready to keep doing multi-hour long videos right now, but might as well, right? And especially with my birthday coming around, that's why I didn't really want to commit to something like that. But we're kind of doing this again, like I said, out of spite at the beginning, but also because birthday is coming around, so I'm just doing a big video for everyone. A big video that's also brand new as well, so it's also because of that. Everyone else is getting a present, right? Me reacting to this video.
That is wild.
It's wild. It's
Still got 40 minutes, by the way.
weird.
That is wild. Who are these people?
We don't know.
What did Aaron say?
That they were just passerbys, and then, yeah, they were there. I mean, they were there. You can hear some voices on the 911 call. Aaron is clearly talking to somebody. And then even the worker at the baseball facility stated that he saw 3 people wearing the construction vest and then just gone. Just gone. We don't know. We don't know their side of the story. They're not really even mentioned in the police reports.
Which doesn't make any sense, though. Like, they could have just been 3 goons that the dad hired and had them put on the construction outfits to make it seem like they're good Samaritans, and then they just disappear into the ether, I guess.
Workers in the facility, they didn't see anything. I mean, by the time that they come out, they see the scene as is. They don't see how it happened. They don't see anything. They don't even see them arriving. They saw nothing. And according to a police report, Aaron's statement is given, and he says, my son Grant and I pulled into the parking lot separately, parked side by side. I was still in my car, but I noticed my son get out of his car to get his baseball gear out of the back of his truck.
Okay, so parked side by side. Oh, so they were in different cars. So that kind of like gets rid of he did it to his son because he was in the passenger seat and put the car in neutral or reverse and forced the reverse over him.
I look down to check a work email, and the next thing I know, I hear and see the truck rolling backwards into the ditch. I get out of my car to try and find my son and saw that he was trapped underneath the truck and immediately called 911.
Okay. So that like kind of like puts a wrench in like what I was saying, where if he did it, it was because they're both in the same car, and as soon as he went to the truck, he forced the truck to run him over. But in the scenario, like the son was by himself. He did go to the trunk, so I did call the fact that he would have had to go to his trunk to get ran over, right? To go get his sports stuff. But if they're in different cars, it kind of makes it hard for the dad to do it on purpose, right?
That's his version of events. This version would indicate that Grant either goes to the backseat of his car or the trunk of his car to get his baseball gear, presumably. But the car malfunctions or was not in park to begin with and starts rolling down the hill and dragging Grant with the car before he falls into the ditch, hits his head on the rocks, and the car lands on top of him. There's variations of some people think that he was dragged down the parking lot. Some people think that he was like using force to push the back of the truck, but then it's like it's forcing his feet to move back. But I don't imagine, I mean, none of them make sense. And I'm not like a physics girl. I've never been a STEM girly, but I don't know.
Oh yeah, because I wasn't really thinking about it earlier when they mentioned how it was working, right? Because we have like the truck. Again, I'm just going to draw a rectangle. Like this is a truck, right? If he's here, facing the truck, and the truck backs up on him, his feet should be like this, right? He should be like this underneath the truck. But apparently he was the other way around. He was like this underneath the truck, and I think he was facing up, right? So how do you get like this underneath the truck that's falling backwards? Like, how do you spin like that? The only way that that would happen is if it's going to be hard to illustrate that. Is the car would have to run you over so that you're like this, right? It runs you over, you get snagged in, I guess, like the right back wheel. So the wheel snags you here, and as it's rotating, because it is rotating, it rotates you. Which way would it be going if you're going backwards? Like that. So you would spin this way. We're using physics here. You get snagged in the tire is going like that. So it would force your body to go spin this way, and then you'd eventually end up like sideways. I mean, the light's in the way. If you're still getting dragged, and then eventually miracle physics scenario, you could end up facing this way, right? If the tires keep spinning you around as you're being dragged down the thing, but then you would take like a lot of damage from the tires just running you over again until you were facing this way, right? Like it's plausible, just like we were doing with the Smith case and trying to figure out how a car would react to hitting a person and how you would spin out and all that stuff. Same thing happens here. You can, I feel like, get spun in a way, especially if you get hit multiple times. Like if your leg here is caught with a tire and your other body part's caught with the other tire, that would even apply more force, spinning you around in place. But still, I feel like it's still a very low percentage that you would end up like this underneath the car, like that. So I don't know.
Oh, how that works. I feel like I imagine a Toyota Tacoma coming down. I mean, I guess I could try to ask someone, an expert about it. I don't know who I would ask. Does anyone know, right? But if you were to come down with a Toyota Tacoma, I'm imagining that car is 6,000 pounds. That's a guesstimate. It would have to be coming pretty fast, no?
No, not necessarily at the beginning. At the beginning will be a slow roll.
But then eventually it's fast, correct?
No,
Or
if it's
slow?
like jagged, like there's a lot of friction, but it will be moving. It will be moving and
Do you think that someone could,
stop it.
or like have it slowly?
That I don't know. I don't even know what it looks like in my mind right now. But I think if 6,000 pound is emotion, like if it's decide to, go down emotion, that means it's not gonna be easy.
Because even that point is contentious. A lot of people think it makes more sense that he was knocked down by the car and then dragged down the parking lot and then dragged into the ravine. Because they're saying 6,000 pounds. There's no way you can try to even like
Stop
slowly walk it down into the ditch.
Oh, that's what you're asking.
Yes.
Walking it down, that's crazy.
Not walking it down, but like still standing upright.
Oh, like go down with the
Yeah.
truck at the same time
Yes.
as you're standing.
Yes. Then people are saying it makes more sense that he was dragged across the pavement. But there's no blood on the pavement. There's no indication of anyone hitting the pavement. There's nothing on the pavement.
I see.
You only start seeing blood on very select rocks around where Grant's head supposedly landed.
I mean,
Yeah, that's what I was pointing out earlier. They're not really pointing out the fact that he was allegedly sitting, like I said, like the only way for that to happen is him to be spun around perfectly by the tires to end up that way. Which again, doesn't make any sense. Well, barely doesn't make any sense. Like there's a scenario like a 0.00001% chance of him being spun perfectly to land that way, but still, again, no blood as well. Like where would he have been? Like he's in his trunk trying to get something. I don't know, there's a case that he like rolls down with it, but like I don't know how he ends up facing the way he does. Because if he's in the trunk, if the trunk's deep enough, he might have put like a knee into the trunk to like get something in the back, or maybe something in the back seat, and the car rolls down because of it. So now we can, again, I don't know if this is like a truck or a car. Oh, I guess we saw it earlier, didn't we? I need to see a picture of. Okay, it's a truck. So he could have gotten like let's just do that. Just gonna do that because we don't have to make it look nice. He could have put like a leg, put his like a leg on the car, right? As he was like trying to like reach for something. I mean, I'm drawing this badly, but I'm not really trying. Like he has a leg on the car, so as it's falling backwards, he doesn't immediately fall down, right? He's just like in the trunk as it's rolling backwards. But even then, like, I'm just imagining, okay, he's slightly under the trunk, if it goes and rolls backwards a while, but then he eventually falls over, but then he has to immediately be spun even faster around to get that same kind of positioning that he was in, which doesn't make any sense. So yeah, this whole truck scenario doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
he could like stumble back really quickly and just like stumble, and then.
So that's the first point of contention. And if it's just one point, I think it's fine. I think it's something that a lot of times unexplainable things do happen, but when it's multiple points that are up for debate, it starts feeling a little bit fishy. So that's the first fishy point. The second fishy point that doesn't make sense is that according to various people, when they arrive at the scene, that car was in park. These are just people on the internet, mainly from Angie and Angie's side. Perhaps one of the construction workers put it in park to make it more secure. We don't know because we don't know who they are. Perhaps it was always in park and the car malfunctioned, or perhaps it was never in park and we don't know because the police reports don't specify. But it has been widely reported that the car was in park by the time that the police get there, which if that's the case, can't you prove it by getting the car's black box and figuring out what went wrong? Did the car malfunction? What happened? Well, Aaron apparently declines to have this car forensically analyzed. Grant's car is not forensically analyzed to figure out what happened. It is very, 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 very unlikely that the car would be in park and still roll down the hill like that, wouldn't it? Others argue that maybe the car was never in park, but that doesn't make sense because if the car was never in park, Grant would not have time to get out of the car and then get behind the car in a way that it would roll him down and drag him down.
You're saying it's going to go down so much quicker?
Yeah, it would probably go down while he's in the driver's seat.
Right. Immediately when he steps out, the car's already going down. He wouldn't even get behind the car is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
So then it doesn't make sense that the car was never in park. But if the car is in park and it's still rolled down, that doesn't make sense either. And you know what doesn't make more sense about that is I do think that, listen, I don't know what Aaron Solomon is, but if I had to take a personal gander, a personal guess, he seems a little litigious. He seems like he would like to sue someone. I think he would sue the shit out of Toyota is what I'm saying. I think that if he knew that the car was in park and it still rolled down the hill, I think that he would get his black box analyzed and he would sue the shit out of Toyota.
Wait, that is such a good point.
That is my opinion. I don't know. That's just what I'm saying.
Wait, that is such a good point.
Yeah, but he doesn't.
Right, I would be so angry.
At the car manufacturer.
Yeah, I would be angry at so many people for something like this to happen.
I would be on a campaign against the manufacturer.
Yes.
Which also, I do love a Toyota. They're very reliable cars. So that's also another point that people are like, Toyotas, especially the Toyota Tacomas, in recent production, they're like really reliable because they're made for working cars, but he doesn't. He doesn't get it checked out. He never talks about Toyota ever again. He's never like posting on Instagram like, don't buy a Toyota. Nothing. I mean, maybe he does privately, or maybe he has and I just haven't seen it. Is my personal opinion that I would assume that he is someone that would like to take legal action against a massive corporation. But more than that, even in both versions, the end placement of Grant's body is very strange. He lands on his back with his face facing the street. The car is facing the facility because it's reversing down. So he parks.
Again, this was what I was pointing out earlier. Like, how did he get like this? If he was in the trunk, looking at the trunk, there's no way for him to end up like that. Like some Looney Tunes nonsense of like he's in the trunk, he's getting stuff in the trunk, he turns around for some reason to look at the street, slips on a banana, lands on his back, and for some reason the car begins to run him over at that point and drags him down. Like that's the only way he would be facing like this, with his back on the ground, face looking up, head at the front of the car, because otherwise his feet would be in front of the car and his head towards the back.
With his front facing the facility, and now it's rolling downhill, but his body is facing the street. So you would have to imagine there's some sort of tumbling that's happening. But if there's tumbling that's happening, they can't really. Angie says that when she went to the scene, she couldn't find other points of blood to indicate a tumble happened, like impact 1, impact 2, impact 3. It's just right where his final resting place is. So it doesn't make sense, is what she's saying. And a lot of people have been trying to do accident recreations through words, which is very difficult to even envision. But it's like no one can agree that this makes any reasonable sense. It feels like Karen Reed all over again, in the sense of like, even if you really want to believe it, it's so hard.
Karen Reed is, I think, the girlfriend from the police case that I was talking about, the Smith case or whatever.
To even picture it in a way.
So we're going to start referring to the Karen Reed case, because that's what it was called, the Karen Reed case.
That doesn't feel like it's straight out of like a movie because it doesn't make sense. Like you have to work really hard to make it make sense visually. He doesn't have a lot of cuts or abrasions on his body to indicate any sort of rapid or intense tumbling or skidding or dragging had occurred. And it's strange. Even then, let's say his car is falling. He realizes he has nowhere to run and doesn't run sideways, which maybe he can't. So he just tries to outrun the car and runs into the ditch. So people were thinking that. People are like, okay, maybe it's weird. So maybe he turned around to run away from the car, to outrun it, right? And then he jumps into the ditch, and then he lands on his feet, and then maybe he lands on his back, hitting his head, and then the car lands on him. But there's no fractured ankle, there's no broken ankle, there's no trauma to the ankle. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense, especially when you're landing on jagged rocks. I do believe that you can probably jump 5 feet down and you'll be fine, but on jagged rocks, there's no way. A lot of people are having a hard time. How is he facing on his back away from the building? Additionally, Aaron is apparently sitting right there in the car, right next to Grant's, and he doesn't see what happened. The next time he looks up, his son and his car are just gone. So he looks around and he finds them in the ditch. All that's happening while he's just sitting in his car checking work emails. Angie says when she goes to see Grant's body in the hospital, Aaron has already rejected an autopsy. He has rejected donating Grant's organs. And alarmingly, she claims, Aaron keeps telling her, we're going to be a family now. We're going to be a family now. Angie has a lot of questions. Angie says, this is what she knows. We know that the car was in park, and we know that the cars were in the ignition. And again, I don't know how accurate this information is. I don't know if maybe one of the witnesses had asked for the keys prior and had put it in the ignition, trying to move it. I don't know. For one, she says the grass around that area, completely fine. The grass where the car apparently ran over Grant before landing in the ditch, not a single blade of grass, she states, is even bent or messed up. It's perfectly fine.
Except for the fact that the truck was there. We saw the truck in the thing, so that doesn't make sense. What she's saying doesn't make sense now. Because the truck literally was there, so how could you get a truck into the ditch without touching the grass? Because now we're saying the truck just manifested over the ditch without touching the grass.
Additionally, most of the
When we have pictures of the truck in the ditch.
rocks are undisturbed and there's barely any blood on them. Doctors noted that Grant had a major head trauma to the back of his head, including severe lacerations and suspected skull fractures. He had
Yeah, I saw the laceration thing on the doctor note.
blood coming from his mouth, nose, and ears. Angie says that she was expecting a lot more blood on the rocks because when you read the medical report, it sounds like he was bleeding out on the rocks. Now, Aaron and a lot of people argue that it was a lot of internal bleeding, but she's saying that also doesn't make sense because if he just like fell and hit his head, that she's saying it doesn't make sense. The internal bleeding would make more sense if he was dragged through the pavement, ran over, but there's no evidence on the pavement. There's no blood on the pavement. So she's saying that doesn't make sense either. There's no scratches on his skin, according to Angie, no abrasions, and she's confused by all of this. Further, it's been questioned how Grant doesn't have burns. If they had been driving an hour to get to the facility on, this is, summer in Tennessee, underneath that car is hot. It's very hot. So if you're in contact with a vehicle, I did ask someone about this. If you are under a car that has been driving for an hour, like if you're a mechanic and you get up under there, if you touch the car, you're gonna get burns on your body within seconds. Perhaps the argument is that Aaron wasn't physically touching any part of the car, but the person that I asked, they said that a lot of mechanics, they still would recommend not because there's radiant heat, especially if you're not really accustomed to it. You're gonna feel, it could burn you. Now, there's no record of any sort of burns or anything. According to a Instagram account called Freedom for Gracie, now this is the contentious, highly argued Instagram account. Aaron says Angie is operating it. Angie says, no, I'm not. Aaron wants there to be a subpoena for the IP for the operator of the account. It's a whole thing, but it does appear that whoever is running it is very close to Angie because there are a lot of documents that they're able to get their hands on and post on that account that only Angie would have. I don't know if she's the one operating it. I don't know if she's one of the people operating it, one of the many people, but it's very, I don't think it's highly debated.
Why can't she be operating it?
Well, because there's a lot of potentially defamatory things on there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see. Okay, so he's like, if you're talking about me under your name, I'm going to sue you.
Yes.
But instead, it's an Instagram account that's talking about them. Okay.
And Angie is like, that's not me. Now, this Instagram account states that a Summer Regional Medical Center document reads that the medical examiner stated his cause of death was cardiac arrest, cause unspecified, blunt trauma arrest with traumatic brain injury. The caption for the Instagram post begs the questions. Why does Grant's body not have bruises, scrapes, lacerations, burns all over it if he was dragged across the pavement, riprap, and rocks while being dragged under a truck that drove for an hour? Wouldn't it be hot under that truck, causing burns on his body if he's stuck under it? If someone is dragged across pavement under a truck, wouldn't there be a bloody trail? Wouldn't Grant have yelled, screamed if his truck started moving if he was out of the truck? The question is, how do you get hit by a truck, roll under the truck, somehow attach to the truck, get dragged by the truck, get thrown in the rocks that are at a vertical angle, and miraculously land under the vehicle without any other markings on the back of your body? The Instagram account alleges Angie remembers when she saw Grant in the hospital. His body looked perfect. She was expecting him to be mutilated with blood everywhere, but instead, he just looked like her Grant. She was in shock at the time, but she remembers thinking in her head, not a scratch. His body is not squished. His body isn't torn to pieces. Nothing. And there's really nothing. The witnesses are gone. There's no CCTV camera. We just have Aaron's version. And Angie decides she's going to grill him about that day. And she's going to record him and make sure that his story never changes. And this hour-long recording is up on YouTube.
Wait, I want to see what that said.
Grill him about that day. And she's going to record him and make sure that his
Aaron Solomon on video after his son Grant dies suspiciously in his presence. Angie videos Aaron after Grant's death. Again, like the whole truck thing and him dying doesn't make any sense. Yet I'm still on the side of the phone call was fine. Doesn't mean that he's not lying, but the truck stuff itself doesn't make any sense. I'm assuming what they're trying to get at is that Aaron bludgeoned him in the back of the head, then moved his body into the ditch, then reversed the car into the ditch on top of him to make it seem like he got ran over by the car, which it's like so elaborately not a good idea because like we're out in the open. It's not some sort of like hidden off place. We're in front of the sports building with employees in there, not that they can see outside because it's a freaking cube, a windowless cube, but you have like who knows how many cars constantly passing down this roadway, right? Just constantly going by. It could be people, pedestrians on the sidewalk. Or we're saying nobody saw Aaron bludgeon this guy, carry his body into the ditch, get into a car, reverse the car into the ditch, because like reversing a car down in that ditch would be like suspicious as well. Like people would be like, what's going on with that? Like, there's so many people who should have seen this situation, and yet nobody did. I mean, obviously nobody's gonna be able to like come out and see what's going on unless they somehow saw the news about what happened, right? But still, just broad daylight, we're saying that he bludgeoned his son and did this.
Story never changes. And this recording, this hour-long recording, is up on YouTube. Aaron states they had gotten there early, no rush. See, this is where, again, people are like, did you have an appointment? Did you not have an appointment? That's why the appointment thing is important. We had gotten there early, so there was no rush. You know, we have time. And he says, the last time I see him is literally like right here. And he's like showing Andy how he's closing the front door of the truck. The truck is there. They're like using the truck right now as like a show and tell.
So confused.
And the truck looks fine. That's
What's the
nothing.
hands?
There's like no damage to the truck. So he's like opening the driver's side door and he's like closing it. And he's like, yeah, this is when I last see Grant. And then he motions like he's about to open the back door. So he's saying the last time I saw Grant, he's getting out of his driver's side, closing the driver's side, and then opening the back. Or it looks like he's trying to open the back.
I look down, then I look back up, and I see him because we were early. We had like plenty of time, so there was no rush. We had our time. So the last I see is him literally right here closing this, about to open this, and I'm thinking, oh, he's just going to get his gear, and I'm going to check this email to make sure it's not important, and then I'm going to get out, and we're going to go in.
And as the last you saw him was right there.
Yes.
And the truck wasn't rolling at that point, because you would have noticed it.
Right.
But when he gets out, he doesn't see Grant. He sees Grant's car at the bottom of the ditch and quote, I'm not thinking worst case scenario at the very beginning when I first got out of the car. I start coming down this hill and at first I'm looking through the windshield to see if he had hopped back in by chance because I don't see him standing there. So he's like, oh, did he get into the car? And now he had like driven into the ditch. So I'm like, maybe he got back in somehow and I don't see him. So I'm above the hill and I look down and he says that he could tell instantly that Grant wasn't covered up by the wheels. Like none of the wheels are on Grant.
Oh, he saw him immediately under the truck. Okay.
Yes. And that's maybe why he sounds so calm in the 911 call.
What?
I don't know. In my mind, in my opinion, in my
That's
personal
crazy.
personality and my panic for loved ones being in danger, I can't relate. But
He said that that's why?
no, he lists a bunch of other things.
Oh.
He says he didn't see him being crushed by a wheel or anything. Aaron is explaining to Angie that he clearly saw that the front tires are not on top of Grant. He is not sure if the back tires ran over Grant. He doesn't know anything. He says, I don't know. I didn't actually see everything happen. He says that he doesn't jump down the side of the ditch because he's immediately calling 911. But also a couple of guys were telling him he needs to sit down right now.
I was more in the front of it, and I'm calling 911 immediately. You know, people are like, man, you need to sit down because you're...
Indicating that he's so distraught that maybe it's best for him to not go down into the ditch.
What? What is going on?
Aaron theorizes out loud.
Also, like, are those guys just happen to be there at the right time? That doesn't make sense. If he's calling the cops and they're already there before him, we know.
Well, again, like I was saying, there could be any number of pedestrians, any number of people in their cars driving by at any given time. So I'm not too worried about people actually being there because people could have seen the car roll down if it actually did roll down, which we're at this point, I feel like we're saying it didn't actually do that. But if it did do that, like people could have easily been parked, you know, like saw it happen, stopped their car and got out of their car and be like, hey, what's wrong? Or in this case, maybe like a truck of construction workers saw it happen, got out of their car to see what was going on. You know, or 3 construction workers walking down the sidewalk to their job, because I think this is early in the morning, right? To see what was happening.
100% there were people there because it's on the call.
We think that there's 3 guys. The employee could have been wrong, but we can at least hear one other voice. Aaron theorizes out loud. Let's say by chance the back door caught him. So he's saying maybe by chance he opened the back door and the car starts sliding down. Let's say by chance the back door caught him and he gets knocked out somehow when he first hit. And it drags him down the parking lot, down the ditch, and he tumbles down through the ditch. His head could hit 2, 3 times. He states that the car bumper was basically on the street because it fell down the side of the hill with so much force that it just like went bloop back up onto the street.
Back up on the street?
Okay, to give you an idea, the ravine, the little ditch. It's like a tiny incline back up onto the street. So like down the ditch and then like a tiny little speed bump. And that's the street. Okay, so he's saying it just fell with so much force that it almost went back up onto the street. Because when you look at the picture of the car, the weird thing is the nose of the car is going down into the ditch from the street. That's almost what it logically looks like if you just look at the picture. That's what I thought happened when I just first came across this case back when it happened. And I saw the first picture, that was my initial thought. And then I quickly realized that's not what happened. It backed up. But when you think about backing up, I just imagine it landing very differently. And so I think to come up with a logical reason, whether it be true or just him even trying to understand the situation or, I don't know, something more nefarious.
It reversed all the way back onto the street rather than driving off. People think it's like driving off the street into the ditch.
My descriptions. Okay, let me be a little more clear.
Like why does that detail matter is what I'm trying to understand.
Yes, so another theory is that Grant is either placed into that ditch or someone hit him on the head with a rock and he fell into the ditch, and then someone drove the truck from the road into the ditch, covering his body. If
Yeah, it could look like that, which is, I'm guessing why we're saying like the grass isn't disturbed.
the car were to reverse down the hill
Yes.
and run Grant over,
Yes.
it's a steep hill.
Yes.
And when it goes down this steep hill,
Yeah, because I'm guessing because this is like a big drop right here, that it would slam like the front of the car if it was going fast enough, would get some air, and then the front of the car would slam down on top of his body, and there would be way more damage to him if that was the case. I don't know why they don't just look at the road then and see what's going on. Yeah, this is just so weird. There's like too much calculations that have to be thought about here. Because we bludgeon him in the rocks. Okay, let's say that for some reason they're hanging out in this ditch, like Dad and Grant are in the ditch. Maybe they're looking for something. Dad's like, hey, I need you to look for something down in this ditch. I dropped it. Help me look for it. Son turns around, Dad picks up a rock, slams it in the back of his head. Okay, now he's knocked out. Let's move his body while we're down this ditch. It's harder for the people on the street to see us, but they can still kind of see you doing this, so it doesn't really make sense. Unless you parked the car on the side of the road to block people from seeing you, or maybe you turned into this ditch to begin with. Okay, here's like, I think I can make up a scenario that makes more sense. Right, okay. I wish I had had the road here so we could actually see. But they, like, I don't know why Aaron would do this, but for some reason Aaron misses the turn, falls into the ditch, right? Car turns into the ditch. Dad's probably up here. Dad comes down there to come, like, see what's going on in the ditch, right? Then, they are trying to get the car out of the ditch, so they're both outside, looking at the front of the car. And then I guess the dad sees an opportunity to hit his son in the back of the head with a rock. And, like, under the protection of, like, the truck blocking the view, plus them being, like, slightly down in the ditch. And then he maneuvers the son's body underneath the car somehow, and then calls 911, and then whoever those other people show up, right? That's probably the best thing we could do to, like, on the opposite end of, like, framing the dad. Is like, for some reason, Grant drove into the ditch, and he found that as, like, an option to do this. Again, like, I don't know how, like, the dad would do anything outside of that, because, like, everything else revolves around the dad being in the car with Grant rather than being in his own car. But maybe he drove his car here ahead of time and left it there and then went to this place with Grant, so they're in the same car, or whatnot. So maybe he bludgeons Grant in the car, causing him to fall into the ditch, and then they drag his body out. But then I guess you'd see like the blood actually in the car somewhere, like some splatter or something, right? So it can't happen in the car. I don't know. This is just too tricky, this scenario. But let's just say Grant accidentally drives into the ditch. Dad then finds an opportunity to take him out and place his body underneath the car. I don't know.
Some people would imagine, and maybe this defies the laws of physics, that it would land maybe almost still up the hill. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like the bumper
Sure.
would get caught on something, or maybe it would even flip.
Yeah, I was gonna say it flipping over could happen as well. But again, it depends on how much speed it got before that happens, right? Because if it got enough speed, it would maybe hover for a second and then land here, maybe bounce, and then cause it to get stuck the way it did. Like the hydraulics underneath or like absorb a lot of that, make it bounce a lot. So it might have like bounced out of the ditch because of how much speed it was getting.
Almost still up the hill. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like the
Because like this, even seeing it there, how it just abruptly stops. I mean, she's not gonna like animate the physics for that perfectly, but there would be more like bouncing, I think, from that. It wouldn't just like land and then just come to a dead stop, right? It would maybe keep going a bit or like bounce up or flip over.
bumper would get caught on something, or maybe it would even flip.
Or the back of the truck is like in the ditch, correct?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
what people imagine.
Yeah.
But Aaron is saying perhaps it went down the hill with so much force because the back of the car is not in the ditch. The front of the car is in the ditch, and the back of the car is kind of
Now it's on the opposite
sidewalk.
side. It's onto the other side of the ditch now.
Yes.
That makes sense. So I envision a V.
Yes.
Instead of, the back of the truck is at the bottom. Right now, the top of the truck is at the bottom because
Yes.
it's reversed into
Yes.
the other. The back of the truck is at the bottom. Right now, the top.
I want to. So, I'm looking at this right now, and do you see what I see? We probably saw this earlier, but do you see what I see right now? This wheel. Why is the wheel facing this way? Was it always facing that way? Did someone turn the wheel to face that way? Because if it's facing that way, then someone, driving in from the road, the wheel would be turned that way, right? Because you're driving this way. If you were up on the incline, your wheel should be straight. Because if you're falling backwards, you would have to be same thing. You would have to be coming like that from that angle. So nowhere near where the parking is, right? So that doesn't make sense. The trajectory there would be weird. That's only assuming the wheels didn't get turned or moved by something else.
Of the truck is at the bottom because
Yes.
it's reversed into
Yes.
the other end of the V now.
Yes, but it's like a very small incline for the sidewalk,
Right. I see.
But people are saying it is very weird.
Yeah. So the theory is the truck was never up there. You just drove straight from this side.
Yeah, into the ditch.
Right.
Now there are other things confirming.
Wait,
Yes.
is that why somebody think Grant's head is facing up?
Yeah.
Because if that's the direction, see, that's why I'm having such a hard time picturing, because the way you're describing the recount of the story makes it so hard. Versus if you're just saying the car drive off, it makes it easier to envision.
And the
Okay, second theory here is they pull in. Aaron gets out of the car for some reason, or not Aaron. Grant gets out of the car for some reason. Aaron gets out of his car. And gets into Grant's car, goes out into the street for some reason, tells Grant to stand here for some reason, and then runs him over. I don't know why Grant would let his dad run him over, but that could be a plausible scenario too, just because of the head trauma, because he'd be facing this way. It would make sense for him to be facing this way if he got hit by the car from this direction, right? And if he got hit hard enough, his head would. It can't follow me. I'm trying to do that. He would slam backwards hard enough. If he slammed his head backwards hard enough, it would fracture it, right? But again, it's any kind of way that this ends up is implausible. Even however it was done, just seemed implausible.
Of the story makes it so hard. Versus if you're just saying the car drive off, it makes it easier to envision.
And the recount of the story is very confusing. Even when I'm seeing the pictures, I cannot. Usually, I'm a very visual person. If I even read a few sentences about how a series of events happen, I can usually picture it very clearly in my mind. This with the pictures, and I kept thinking, I'm just really not a car person. I'm just really not a physics person because I can't see it. I can't see this occurring.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Yes. Okay. Wow. Okay. Continue.
There's not any sort of variation of the scenario where I go, oh, okay, I can see that. It just is weird. I can't see.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Every angle doesn't make sense, even him being the bad guy here doesn't make any sense. Just because of people should have seen it, the amount of setup you would need to create the scenario doesn't make sense. Whether it's an accident or he did it, it doesn't matter. All potential options are too far-fetched.
See, it's fuzzy.
Whoa, this is insane. Okay.
Now, people are saying that the car is also very strange. So Aaron is saying, well, maybe it just fell with so much force that it ends up, the bumper side is almost on the sidewalk now because it was just going down that fast. Aaron states, and me being there makes it even worse for me because I'm like, what if, I wish I had. He says, in hindsight, he wishes he had just gotten out of the car right when he had gotten there. And he says that it just makes it so difficult for him because he was there when this happened. Then he says something that rubs Angie and everyone the very wrong way. He says, there are so many what ifs. That's why I said it has to be a God thing.
There's so many what ifs. That's why I said it had to be a God thing, because it's so freaky. It's so freaky. And because I didn't see the whole thing, I mean, nobody knows except God.
Aaron later states that's why they call it a freak accident, because it's unexplainable. That's the only way I can't. Like I said, I thought the other day, you know, it's a God thing because none of it makes sense. I guess it's
I mean, sure, but like I'm telling you right now, it doesn't make sense to me. No, every scenario that I've created, like I'm saying they could happen, but them having to happen is like so hard for them to happen. Even if I can create like a billion scenarios, they're all like, okay, it's so difficult to make that scenario actually happen though.
I don't know. Even people who are religious were just saying this is a very weird. Usually, a lot of religious people will say, if they ever experience something as traumatic as their child passing away before them, there is initially a lot of anger with God, and there might even be a testing of faith and perhaps even a loss of faith and a turning away from religion after
Sure.
incidents like this. But the fact that he so very quickly is like, it's a God thing. What do you mean it's a God thing? Like God wanted this to happen? Like that's very odd. It's not a normal thing to say. And I'm not a religious person, but a lot of religious people in the comments have been saying, no, that's weird. I just would not ever say that as someone who is a strong believer and is someone of faith. Now, Aaron is saying that he's holding it together for the 911 call, trying to be there for Grant by getting the authorities there as quickly as possible. Let's say that's all true. He's so distraught that he can't even see Grant in the ditch because he will freak out. He cannot even go near Grant. He can only stand on top of the ditch and call 911. If that is...
Well, she's building, I know you can hear the music in the background, she's about to start yelling. She's building suspense for some sort of like mic drop. There's still 20 minutes left this, so we're still gonna be here for a while.
It's true. Tell me why this distraught man is now laying in the rocks at the ditch to recreate the scene for Angie and it's being recorded. Aaron straight up gets down on his back on the rocks, head up in the clouds, just staring blankly while Angie is filming him, and Aaron is placing his body where he states Grant's body was. And one of Angie's friends, who happens to be there, you just hear her say, Aaron, you don't have to do that. You don't have to.
That's kind of weird. It's weird that the bloody rocks are still there and they didn't take those away for evidence or just, you know, to not have blood in public. Question mark. So yeah, I don't know what he's doing now. He just seems like he's really weird now. Though I wouldn't have held it past Angie to not pick up a rock and bludgeon him right there and then there, because he was on his back, his eyes were closed, I think. I'm surprised whoever was holding those rocks and like just, you know, just hit him over the head right then and there.
I don't have to do that.
Oh, Aaron, you don't have to do that.
He's like this.
You don't have to do that.
But Aaron just keeps casually saying, like, he's like this. The 911 call, I kind of understand a bit more. I do think that when things get really, really high stakes, I actually can present more calmly than when things are just kind of high stakes. Like when things are just going wrong, I'm full panic mode. But then when things are like really severe, I can actually be a little more calm. So I can understand why some people can come off more cold in these moments. So like that part, the 911 call, it's weird. I will say it's weird. I'm still in the ditch.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried about that. Like if like for a certain scenario happening that will eventually happen, because I know it's going to eventually happen. It's just how things, you know, it's just life. Like, and I have to like call 911 or whatever, and I'm worried that I'm going to be too calm to where it's like weird. Like I'm actually worried that I'm going to be too calm and like worried like what that's going to say about me. Like maybe I'll just be losing it. I don't know. Like I won't know until it happens, but I don't want to think about that. But again, like he's being weird here.
I think the voice is less of a problem for me. A lot of people don't like that he sounds calm.
Yeah, again, his voice is like, I'm perfectly fine with his voice for the most part during that call. Except for some of the points where he sounds kind of weird, but like a lot of it I feel like is genuine though.
He sounds cold, that he keeps saying, oh my God. That part I can kind of understand, but the fact that he doesn't get in the ditch, I don't understand that at all. That's the
Yeah, that's, again, same thing. Like, I don't know what's going on with that, not helping you.
part where the 911 call throws me off. Sounding calm and trying to be effective and outcome focused with your communication is not the biggest deal breaker in believing someone is innocent or guilty. But this part is weird. That's the level of calmness in the 911 call that he depicts because he states that he's trying to keep it together. But now that he's had time to process it, and now that he knows that his son is deceased, there must be some sort of unraveling of emotions, and almost like the shock and the grief is now hitting you, and you must present something, right? But no, he's just laying in the ditch in the rocks being like, oh yeah, he was just like this.
And this is recent?
Yeah.
Right after?
Yeah.
Huh. And he didn't seem emotional about it?
No, he seems like he's trying to explain the situation. I don't know if it was like the day of or the day after, but it seems, at least the insinuation is that it was very close to the incident. Because they're talking about the grass and how the grass is not dented and bent.
Oh, they're
So,
at the site
you
checking
know,
out the condition. I see.
I imagine if it was taking place a week later, they would not be able to point out those things in a way that makes it a deal.
Was police investigating right away?
I don't know what the police were doing. They said they investigated, but they very quickly closed the case. And they don't really give us factual information on why they closed the case. They don't tell us, hey, we did A, B, C, and D. We've come to the conclusion that there's no foul play. They're just like, no, it's a closed investigation. Naturally, after this, everyone, especially Angie, is more confused about what happened that day. She said, 1, there was really no investigation. 2, wasn't Grant's truck found in park? 3, so it went out of park and then back into park and then was completely fine to drive after that? There
I
are
would want to put the car up there again just to see if it will roll down in park.
Oh,
Or
that's true.
right. If I'm the dad, I would do that again just to check and show like, okay, there's something wrong with this car that killed my son.
Okay, I think, in my personal opinion, if Aaron Solomon has nothing to do with Grant Solomon's death, which legally he has nothing to do with Grant Solomon's death as of right now, that's one thing. I do think that, personal opinion, I don't think he's a good dad, just for the sole
Sure.
fact of like, when you watch Angie's video of him trying to figure out what happened to his son, he's like in the car, in the Tacoma. He's like, I guess it like popped out of park. And it's just like, I wouldn't even take this half-baked answer for if my utensils went missing in the house. I'd be like, I gotta investigate. I gotta figure it out. It's gonna keep me up at night. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, like even if everything he's saying is true, like his entire story is true, he hasn't done anything bad to anybody, he still ends up being like a bad dad. Because again, earlier, if we're telling him or taking him at face value, he left a crazed woman at home with his kids during that earlier story, and then now his son gets, killed, and he's just, it's like he doesn't care at all. Like, oh, it's just something that had to happen. Oh well.
And here's a new thing.
It's something that just had to happen because of God, right?
Yeah,
So
but he's just like, I guess like it's very quick to accept that this is a quote unquote freak accident.
Yeah, that's weird.
And usually a lot of people, I mean, I was on Reddit too, a lot of people were saying that with freak accidents, it's actually difficult to accept because you start, there's a lot of like, well, no, that doesn't make any sense.
closure.
Yeah, it feels very like unsettling. You don't feel settled with what's happened, and it takes a longer time to get to the grieving stage. But it seems like he's very quick to accept, like, okay, well, something happened. We don't know what, but it's sad. Odd. And like, not to compare anything, but a lot of people are like, I wouldn't even accept that closure.
I'm sorry about the pause there. Just weird noises outside.
Odd.
Odd.
And like, not to compare anything, but a lot of people are like, I wouldn't even accept that closure if this were like my dog. Like, you would want to get to the bottom of it. Like, who, what?
Yes.
This is my loved one.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
I'm not just going to move on. Now, the only witness to all of this is Aaron Solomon. There are no video cameras within a mile or so. Aaron had stayed parked at the top of the parking lot, never went down to go near Grant. Why doesn't he go to his son? We don't know. Angie believes that there is no evidence that Grant was ever even at the top of the parking lot. She firmly believes that he was rather placed in the ditch and the car was driven into the ditch. But if what Angie is alleging is true, what motive does Aaron have to kill his own son? Also, his girlfriend at the time of his passing, Hannah, we've actually talked to her briefly. She's very sweet. There's a lot going on, obviously, with the case now that Angie is facing her own charges. And I will say, a lot of people have opinions about Angie or Aaron. I think that a lot of the third parties, such as Grant's girlfriend at the time, Hannah, there's really no incentive. There's no incentive for them to say something that may not be true or for them to exaggerate anything. Like, if anything, they have, I feel like their motives are very pure. Because a lot of people question Angie's motives. They're saying there's a lot of things that have been disproven later that we're going to get to, or there's a lot of things that maybe she said that were not factually accurate and she probably knew it wasn't factually accurate. There's just a lot. It gets very messy. There are text messages. She gets caught in a lie at certain times in court. Some people have a lot of sympathy for that, saying that it was just a lot of abuse and she's just desperate to get her kids and she shouldn't have lied, but she felt like there was no choice. Other people are saying, like, if she's lying about that, we don't know what else she's lying about. I think ultimately, I will say, with the days passing, more people are against both the parents. It seems like they just don't like both the parents, and they think that Gracie is a victim. Whether she is a victim of sexual assault by her dad, whether she's a victim of being manipulated by her mother, or maybe
Probably both.
a combination of both.
Yeah.
Everyone believes Gracie. They want to help Gracie, but it seems like more and more people are kind of turning on both of the parents. At first, everyone was heavily in support of Angie, but the tides have been kind of shifting to just, not that they like Aaron, but like, maybe we don't like both of you. So people want to protect Gracie, and I think that's why a lot of people think that third-party perspectives are more pertinent to this case, such as Grant's girlfriend at the time, Hannah. There were talks from Grant's friends that he was trying to get custody of Gracie, now that he was 18, and Gracie is still a minor. So he wanted to get Gracie out of the situation with Aaron. And now that he's 18, he could legally do that. And there's, this conversation that he saw that
We're going to say, like, the parents knew that, or specifically Aaron knew that. And so that's why he got rid of Grant, because he was going to take Grace away.
his mom was not getting believed in the court system. He's a guy, he's a young man. He has a potential baseball career ahead of him. He seems like he would be a good, reliable person in the court system that the judge would be inclined to believe.
So this friend who came out, who said this, that's a real account of someone's statement.
This friend told Angie.
Oh, okay.
So that is where it gets tricky. However, Grant's girlfriend at the time, Hannah, she has come forward to say that his relationship with his dad has always been rough. He never really talked about it with her, but she would notice that he would sometimes get emotional. There was one point where he cried because he didn't want to go back to his dad's place. And it just seemed like there was something going on. He was always extra protective of her when his dad was around, which she thought was strange. So because of that, she didn't really have a lot of interactions with Aaron Solomon. It seems like she does feel like the dad is weird. Now, again, can the dad be weird and the mom be weird? Yes.
Sure.
But also the dad could just be weird by himself, you know? And there's a lot of things that the Freedom for Gracie Instagram account has been posting, such as pictures of the inner portion of Gracie's thigh.
The inside of Gracie's eye both looked this way that night. They were in Gatlinburg spring break. She says her something had done this.
Angie states that that thigh, there's a bruise on there. It is from her being assaulted by her father. Erin claims it's from a rash from her swimsuit because I think she was on the swim team at the time. So that's been up for debate. But there's another Instagram video that Angie claims that she took when she went to go see Gracie at a baseball game, or like at one of the high school games. And it's talking about how Erin would put soap in her during bath times and it hurt and she didn't like it.
How far? Yeah, when Dad did the cells, how far did it go up in?
A lot of people have problems with this video being posted.
Like, who's talking to who and why? Like, it is kind of weird, right? That question, especially for your mom. But I guess you need to know. But like, that felt weird.
The video of
Gracie?
Gracie's talking?
Yeah, you can hear Gracie talking. You can't see her. It's almost like Angie was hiding her phone. It's so hard because I do see people's own perceptions and stories tainting their version of events. Some people who have had very narcissistic parents growing up say this is exactly what my mom or dad would do. They would plant these stories in my head, and the way that Angie is leading these questions and saying things like, tell me what your dad would do again, it's exactly like trying to get ammo on camera and use it against everyone.
Yeah.
So those people are pulling from their own anecdotal experiences, which, I mean, are completely reasonable, right? We're all human. And then other people who have been essayed by family members or in general are saying, I mean, this is what happens. This is the only evidence you can get because you can't really gather evidence. And like, you would be surprised at how often this happens in family units. And so I think it's just really difficult to say,
Yeah.
it's just hard. And then I start getting in my own head of like, okay, well, am I tainted by my own personal experiences on how I personally feel about this case? Not that my personal opinion even matters in any sense of the case, but. And there's also this video of Erin where he goes to pick up Gracie from her school. Gracie does not want to go with Erin. She's like, I don't want to go with you, Dad. I want to wait for Mom.
I want to ride with Mom.
All right, so then after the party, you go with neighbor to Mississippi?
I don't want to go to Mississippi, please. I just want to.
At this point in time, it seems that Erin has custody of the kids. And so he's saying, we've had this conversation a number of times, but it's going to stop. Gracie will be coming with me at some point, whether you like it or not. He's talking to even the school administrators. It will
Who's recording them?
happen because I'm not going to continue to allow us to be breaking the rules, and you shouldn't be allowing it either. And it's not just about what you want right now. It's much bigger than that. And I've tried to play nice and be nice about it, and you've been with your mom way more than you're supposed to, and way more than what the judge. And then Gracie is like, but I want to. And he's like, it's not about what you want.
It doesn't matter what us three think. We've had this conversation a number of times, but it's got to stop. Gracie will be coming to me at some point. Whether you like it or not, it will happen.
So even this clip, a lot of people are pulling from their own personal experiences. Some people are saying, I had a parent just like this. They were heavily abusive. Like, this is their nice side in front of people in public. Imagine what they're like behind closed doors. Other people are saying, it just seems like he's being very firm and probably not nice. But it's not.
He recorded this?
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who did?
Well, Freedom for Gracie posted it.
Who's holding the camera? Like,
You can't really tell.
just somebody's holding the camera?
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's Angie
Oh. It's just a video of him.
and Gracie. Like, it looks like a secretly recorded video of Gracie and him.
Okay.
Yeah. Regardless, Angie says that Grant wanted to get his sister out, and Angie believes that Grant knew that Erin was not happy with this. She says, before Grant left that morning to go to Gallatin, he stopped in front of my door and said something that was so out of character. He said, Mom, I don't want to die in Gallatin. So I begged him. I pleaded with him to like not go, or I would go with him. Let me sit in the parking
Like, that is like a crazy statement.
lot. I thought he was talking about his lungs from COVID. He was getting over that. We had to have x-rays done and see doctors. I didn't want to be a helicopter mom, but I just thought it might just be that, the lungs. He said, no, Mom, you're not going. An hour later, I got a phone call that he's gone. The GoFundMe for Justice for Grant reads, Aaron Solomon, who is currently free to roam the streets as if he weren't a rapist, molester, and murderer. We believe Gracie's older brother and protector, Grant, lost his life at the hands of the same man. The only witness to Grant's death, who has yet to tell the same story twice. Aaron Solomon was never investigated. The case was simply closed. With your donations, we will bring this man to justice before he can do any more harm to Gracie and her mother, Angie, or anyone else. Gracie needs help paying her legal fees, and Angie needs help hiring people to do the work for Grant that the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation and the Gallatin Police Department have refused to do. We can't let the good old boys win. Grant lost his life at a time when he was just about to speak out against his father for sexually abusing his little sister. It was his life's mission to protect Gracie, and now he can't. Gracie demands the safety and freedom that she's been denied over and over and over again, and she demands justice for her brother. She demands accountability for the corrupt court system that put them in this position and the corruption that continues to deny them justice. During Grant's vigil, a candlelit vigil, everyone was chanting justice for Grant. People were holding up signs, reopen the investigation, stop denying the truth. But the police won't. They won't open the investigation. In Gracie's YouTube video, she states, I'm so scared of Dad. I've seen him do terrible things to people I love and myself. Because of this, I strongly believed he killed Grant, and now he was going to kill me. I know he killed my brother, and now I'm scared of him coming near me or coming to get me again or hurt any of us.
He's a liar. I'm so scared of that. I've seen him do terrible things to people I love and myself. Because of this, I strongly believe he killed Grant, and now he's going to kill me. I know he killed my brother, and now I'm scared of him coming near me or coming to get me again or hurt any of us.
Since then, 2020, Angie has been very active on social media trying to build awareness for this case for Grant Solomon. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that they raised close to $200,000 for the Freedom for Grant.
Yeah, it's a lot. forget what I was gonna say about this though. Oh yeah, it's the like they're making it seem like this guy has the same kind of like Karen Reed case um sway as like all the people, all the police officers and whatnot in that, but he's just the freaking weather guy. Like how are the police not investigating Grant? How are they not investigating what he allegedly is doing to Grace all this time? Like, I don't understand how he just keeps getting away. He's just a weather dude. He has no sway unless he secretly is like part of the Illuminati or something. Like, what is going on with him that nothing is being done about him?
And Freedom for Gracie GoFundMe accounts combined. Angie says all she wants is a proper investigation, an autopsy, well, an exhumation now, a toxicology report, an accident reconstruction, something, but she got nothing. So now she wants to use this money for that. For a long time, Angie is on podcasts, on social media, talking about what we can do to help. And then she just disappears. Like a year or two ago, she starts slowing down in podcast appearances. She doesn't disappear per se.
Because that's when she tried to hire the hitman.
But a lot of creators report that they could no longer get in contact with Angie. She just kind of ghosts them. Others are saying that the social media profiles are oddly quiet out of nowhere after $200,000 have been raised. You know, it's just quiet and there's not much news, not much updates until earlier this year. Angie Solomon is arrested for a bizarre murder for hire plot to have Aaron Solomon killed. And now everyone is confused because is Angie Solomon a desperate mom who is just trying to get justice for her own son and take justice into her own hands because nobody's listening to her? She's going on podcasts. Nobody's listening to her. She's going on News Nation. The police aren't reopening the investigation. She's going on doing all these things and nobody is caring. So maybe she felt like she had nothing else to lose and this is what she has to do for her daughter.
Yep,
or
sure.
did she take the $200,000 and what did she do with it? Maybe she had no plans to reopen the investigation. Maybe that was a ploy to get money. Maybe she brainwashed Gracie into believing that her dad abused her, also that she can get Aaron Solomon's $1 million trust.
Yeah, I don't know about all of that. But again, when she hired the hitman, she said she had no money, but she had 200K. Like, what do you mean you didn't have any money? Like, what did you do with the 200K then? If not to give to the hitman? Question mark. Who ended up being a cop, but you know what I mean? Like, where did that money go?
Or is Angie Solomon unwell and has she brainwashed her daughter into believing in all of this abuse? And now that they've raised $200,000 from the GoFundMes, which by the way, she doesn't have anymore clearly because she couldn't even pay the hitman. Where did that money go? That's a big question. Where did that money go? And now that she's run out of that money, supposedly, is she after Aaron Solomon's $1 million trust? What is the motive? Is it justice or is it money? That's what they're arguing. So with that is where I leave you with this part of this case. I will be back for the next part and let me know your thoughts. Stay safe and I will see you in the next one.
Okay, well, that was that. So I'm assuming because this is another story that is just happening, we're not really going to get much closure on what is going on. Again, I'm perfectly fine assuming that he has done all this bad stuff, but some of it seems just like doesn't make sense, but it doesn't make sense on both sides. So I'm also perfectly fine being like, yeah, they're both kind of like just bad people, question mark. You know, just unfortunate that that Grant had to, you know, be killed in all of this. Assuming he was killed, like again, even in the scenarios where we're saying the dad did it, it's like it doesn't make sense. Like, how could he just get away with it out in the open on a, I would assume, a busy street in front of a building? Well, a building with no windows is the only problem with that, right? But like, it doesn't make sense that you're just doing this on the side of the road. You just killed someone on the side of the road. And nobody saw anything, right? Despite 3 construction workers being there immediately. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like I said, even in scenarios where you're blaming him for his death, none of it makes any sense. So I don't know. I guess we're just gonna have to like wait for the next one. Though even with that, we're probably still not going to understand much of what's going to happening, much of what happened, because it's just too soon, right? But yeah, well, I guess we'll be back next time, or not next time, but we'll be back with the next part of this at some point, whenever she posts it, because this video did, again, like I said, came out a day ago. I don't know if it's 2 days ago. Okay, it was 2 days ago. No, it was yesterday. Because it says November 16th, so I'm recording this on the 17th. I'm going to post it on the 18th. Because it's 10 o'clock at night right now. Like, as I'm recording this, you can see the time when I end these videos. Like, that's the accurate time. But yeah, like, again, crazy story. Again, unfortunate the son had to die. during this, whether it be an accident or from by the father's hands, which again, either way, it doesn't make sense how this happened. Again, obviously, unfortunate what happened to the daughter. We don't know if it's true or not. It's hard to be like you want to be like, you want to hope that it's not true. So you can't just be, oh, it's unfortunate to happen, because you want to hope that it didn't happen. Like that best case scenario, like nothing happened to her, and she's been brainwashed, right? You didn't, because that's the lesser of two evils. But you don't know, again, you just feel bad for Grace, no matter what, right? Because either way, like, she lost her brother, she hates her dad, her mom tried to kill her dad, her mom's gonna go to jail for trying to kill her dad. So now she's lost everything, right? I mean, her dad's potential monster, or she believes that her dad's a potential monster. Either way, her mom's gonna go to jail. So she's gonna lose her mom. Her brother just died a year ago, so she doesn't have a brother anymore. So yeah, it's just unfortunate. I mean, she's the loser here. Like we always say, like the children are always the ones who lose. By loser, I mean like she's lost everything, not like a loser. You know what I mean? Like the children are always a loser during any of these scenarios. So that's unfortunate for her. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for today. Again, like I'll try to come back around to this when she uploads the next video. I might just wait to do Stephanie or Rotten Mango videos until the second part goes up, just so like there's no like we're not out of sync or anything, right? Oh, like I'll have to see if anyone says anything about that. 'Cause again, I don't know what I'm going to be doing for the next few days, because birthday's right around the corner, and I need to get back to playing games. Like I haven't played any games on the channel just because of like how rough things are right now, and I'm like stun locked, unable to do anything. But I don't want to sit here and complain about anything, right? Like we already got hate about complaining about stuff, right? In that last haterade comment, I'm kind of like interested in seeing it getting more stuff though. Just like farm the hate, because now I want to make that a segment, right? A haterade segment. I want it to be like a continuing segment, but you actually have to have people hate you enough for that to be a thing. So maybe I should swap it in with what would be the opposite of that? Haterade segment? Because I don't know what you would call people being nice to you. As like loverade? That doesn't make sense. Or that's like too strong of a word. I feel like we'll for now call it loverade. Like I'll have to like replace the haterade segment with like a loverade segment, because nobody's being mean to me anymore. But we'll see what happens after I post this video, how much hate I get or not hate that I get. Again, if you know what I'm talking about, that means you skipped the beginning and you skipped the haterade segment, so you have to go back and watch that. Like the first 15 minutes of this video was me talking about the haterade segment. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for today. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Remember to buy my stickers, or think about becoming a member, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, because we're going to watch time and subscribers, and don't forget we have thrown as well. And shout out to the members, EmmyStarr, RaleyDrew, and alexgkiller 880. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Tune to the next episode. Like, subscribe, comment. You know the deal. See ya. Also, have a good day.